One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Woke up in the morning, sleepy eyes yawning. Jumped out of bed, started the day, opened the curtains. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the caffeine, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Coffee in the morning, it's the best way to survive. Felt the cool breeze, the sun shining on my face. But something was missing, I needed my job to chase. Give me coffee in the morning, give me coffee in the morning. Gotta have the caffeine, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. Give me coffee in the morning, gotta have the caffeine, wake me up, shake me up, dip me back on the sea. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive. One sip, two sips, and I'm feeling so alive.
Good morning. Good morning. How is everyone doing? Welcome in. We'll give everybody time to get in here. Welcome in, Forrest. Hope you can hear me. I don't have anybody up here with me this morning yet, so I hope that you can hear me okay. Let me pull up my other screen here because we are going to watch the Vallow Daybell hearing this morning. My screen is not wanting to cooperate this morning. What in the world? Oh, user error. Doesn't make sense. Okay. I'm checking the court stream, guys, to make sure it's not up yet. We're going to start it a little bit. Thank you, Forrest. Let me check here while I'm looking and waiting. Okay. It hasn't started yet, that I can tell. But we're going to get into, good morning, Jeff. How are you? Good morning, Pokemon. So we're just going to, while we're waiting on, Joe is actually there, boots on the ground for the hearing. He said something about trying to go live, maybe at like break. So I let him know that we are live this morning, and maybe he'll hit me up and let me know when he's going to do that, so we can also make sure we get that out there. But I think he may be doing an update show when he gets back from the hearing. I'm not real sure what his plans are, but I thought we would watch it live this morning and go over some interesting stuff about the case that I've had saved. I don't know if everybody's followed the case from the very beginning, her first trial, and what all, I think we all are aware what she did to her children, but I don't know how many followed the case closely. So we got some things to present pertaining to the case this morning as well. Taking a little break from Idaho for a few minutes. I think we all need it every now and then. Yep, Joe's boots on the ground this morning, Pokemon, and so we'll wait and hear from him as the day progresses. I know Court TV is carrying the, I'm sorry, I got distracted by Jeff's comments. So are there pro Lorries out there? No, I don't think so, Jeff. Like Bob Motta even said something about that. He's like, do you guys believe that Rex Heuermann is not guilty? Do you believe that Stefan Stearns is not? I mean, like, we're going to just jump on that bandwagon, but we're not. We're just going to go lay on the facts and rely on those. But, dude, I've been seeing so much horrible things being said lately about the Idaho 4 case, again, as usual, when documents start coming out. And now that there's unsealing has begun, boy, are people running with some crazy stuff out there. But you know what? What can we do about it, right? Yeah, Melanie and Chad. We're gonna take a look at some stuff this morning, Forrest. Let me, while we're waiting, let me go ahead and bring this one thing up here. It's just a small news clip from this morning talking about the hearing today. She's also supposed to discuss today about having cameras in the courtroom moving forward. She didn't want them in her Idaho trial. And stupid notifications on my phone. Anyway, she didn't want the cameras in her Idaho trials, and she got that. Um, Instead, we got audio feed at the end of the day. So we'll see how the Arizona judge decides to play that out. But let's play this little clip right here. Let me know if you guys have any issues hearing it.
Daybell's charged with murder.
Because it's not really, I got everything turned up as loud as it'll go. So.
Charged with murder conspiracy in the death of her previous husband, Charles Vallow. Tomorrow morning, the judge is expected to hear arguments regarding live stream camera coverage of the upcoming trial. Vallow Daybell recently objected to Court TV's request, claiming the network libeled and slandered her in their previous coverage. And Fox 10 investigator Justin Lum will be at the hearing tomorrow. We'll have live coverage right here on Fox 10 News at 4 and 5. You can also scan the QR code on your screen to watch all of our coverage.
Y'all believe Court TV slandered her? Do you think it's, I mean, she's even trying to, we saw in some of the filings, you know, she's got some interesting people on her list, and she even told Keith that on the Dateline interview when she talked about it, you know, all y'all are going to do is put out lies about me and talk, you know, talk about me, but we're talking about things that you've actually done, Lori, so get over yourself. Before we start anything, I wanted to share with you guys something that I found, because we already know that she's been convicted for the murder of her children, and now she is on trial for the conspiracy to commit murder for her husband, late husband, Charles Vallow. And there's not a lot, you know, I don't know if a lot of people know much about him or not. I've grown very fond of his sister Kay and his her husband Larry, which they are also the grandparents to JJ. And so if you don't know, Charles Vallow was Kay Vallow's brother. He and Lori adopted JJ together because JJ was a member of his family. So then, you know, we all know that her brother Alex shot and killed Charles, what he claimed was self-defense. Yeah, she's bent on controlling that narrative, right, Pokemon? Okay, so this is a little article about who Charles Vallow is, and they had actually some pretty good stuff in this article pertaining to the case. Charles Vallow is the late husband of Lori Vallow Daybell. He was killed by her brother Alex Cox after the two fought in Arizona. According to marriage records, Charles Vallow was Vallow Daybell's fourth husband. The two married in 2006. In his brief obituary, he is called a loving father to sons Cole, Zach, and Joshua Jackson, known as JJ. It also said he was a fan of Austin music, University of Texas football, and Austin's outdoor activities. Vallow Daybell brought in her son Colby and daughter Tylee from previous marriages into the relationship. In 2014, the couple adopted Joshua JJ Vallow, the biological grandson of Charles' sister Kay Vallow Woodcock. In 2014, Charles and Lori moved to Hawaii to the Hawaiian island of back to the mainland sometime between 2016 and 2017 and lived in Arizona in 2018. Yeah, I've watched that interview and I transcribed it. She's something else. And none of it surprised me out of Lori. During this time, it is believed Chad Daybell and Lori Vallow met up at a just conference in St. George, Utah. They began to appear on several of the world-styled podcasts, including Time to Warrior Up. Boy, Police said the two began talking about religious beliefs to justify killing Tammy Daybell, JJ, and Tylee. On January 31st of 2019, Arizona police body camera footage shows Charles Vallow pleading to officers for Lori Vallow to receive mental help at community bridges. However, she was medically cleared and released. According to court documents, Charles Vallow filed for divorce in February of 2019. He claimed that his wife viewed herself as a god and she would kill him if he ever got in her way of preparing the second coming of Christ. During the divorce, Charles Vallow removed his wife from his $1 million life insurance policy and named Kay Woodcock as the sole beneficiary. Some later, the divorce proceedings stopped as Charles Vallow said he wanted to make the marriage work. According to family members, his went to Hawaii nearly 2 months, leaving their children with others. On July 11th, 2019, Vallow Daybell's brother, Alex, shot and killed Charles Vallow, who died at the age of 60. Cox claimed self-defense in the shooting and was not charged. Soon after Charles Vallow's death, police said that Chad Daybell sent multiple texts to the recent widow to further their relationship. Chad Daybell was still married to Tammy Daybell. In December of 2019, Cox died of natural causes. That's what they say. In June of 2020, an Arizona grand jury indicted Vallow Daybell for conspiracy to commit first-degree murder in Charles Vallow's death. A Maricopa County Attorney's Office spokeswoman said Vallow Daybell's case in Idaho will run its course before she faces the charge in Arizona, which is exactly what they did. They let that finish out first, and then she was extradited over to Arizona to face these charges. Vallow Daybell is on trial for the murder of her children, JJ Vallow and Tylee Ryan. She was also on trial for conspiracy to commit murder for her current husband's late wife, Tammy. She faces the same conspiracy charges for her daughter, Tylee, and adopted son, JJ. And then they had a pretty little case file thing going on here. This one was Charles. He warns the police, and that is actually on body cam footage. I don't know if I got it lined up in today's, but I can grab it super quick. It's not to find. Where he calls the authorities out, and he has a conversation with them about Lori and her mental state at the time. So January 31st, 2019, Charles Vallow warns the police. Charles tells the police Lori Vallow has become unhinged, and that is recorded on her body camera footage. February of 2019, Vallow moves towards divorce. Charles Lori threatened to murder him if he tried to stop her from preparing for the second coming. Personal text exchange between it's Lori and Chad exchanged text messages that investigators described a romance novel. July 11th of 2019, Alex Cox kills Charles. Lori's brother, Alex Cox, kills Charles Vallow, claiming self-defense. The killing was later ruled a homicide. September 8th of 2019, Tylee Ryan's last day. Lori Vallow, Alex Cox, and Tylee and JJ visit Yellowstone National Park. It's the last day Tylee was. We have photos from that day. September 9th, 2019, Cox on Daybell property. One day after a Yellowstone trip, when Tylee was last seen alive, Alex visits Daybell's property, where her body will later be found. Chad sends text to Tammy about shooting a raccoon and burying it in the backyard, which he certainly did. He made a big old deal about that raccoon. JJ Vallow's last day was September 23rd, 2019. Lori takes JJ out of school, saying he will get his education at home. This was possibly the last day that he was seen alive. Yeah, I wish Alex was still here too, Pokemon. October 19th, 2019, Tammy Daybell dies. Chad's wife, Tammy, dies in Idaho. Her death is originally listed as cardiac arrest with no autopsy. She is buried 3 days later in Utah. Chad is eventually charged with her murder. November 5th of 2019, Lori and Chad are married. Weeks after his wife's death and months after Tylee and JJ were last seen, married in Hawaii. December 12th of 2019, Alex dies. Alex Cox dies from blood clots in the arteries of his lungs, believed to be natural causes. There's other things that can cause that too. December 20th, 2019, JJ and Tylee officially missing. Rexburg police declared Tylee and JJ are missing persons, and Lori and Chad are named persons of interest. On January 26th of 2020, warrant served on the Daybells. Hawaii police serve a search warrant on Lori and Chad Daybell after Lori is ordered in court to return her children to Rexburg. Now, how you've all seen that clip of Nate Eaton running out there to Hawaii to track her down, you know. February 2020, Lori was arrested. Kauai police arrested Lori, who didn't follow a court order to return her children. Remember, that's exactly correct. She was court ordered to bring the children, produce your children, and she failed to meet that court order. She acted like she didn't have to abide by it. She's like, get out of here with your court order. The story is now big news nationally. The couple returns to Madison, Idaho, with Lori in custody. On April 9th of 2020, murder investigation. Attorney General's office in Idaho says Lori and Chad are under investigation for murder. June 9th, 2020, remains in Daybell's backyard. And I'll never forget that because that's my birthday, man. Kaylee Gonzalez is the day before mine, and they found these babies in his backyard that day. Investigators serve a warrant and in hours find human remains buried in the backyard. They are later confirmed to be Jay and Tylee. Chad was arrested June 9th. Chad is arrested close to his home and booked on suspicion of felony counts and destruction and alteration or concealment of evidence. June 10th, 2020, Chad was in court. He made his first appearance. Bail was set at $1 million. The discovery of the remains of JJ are national news, and a memorial springs up. Hey, welcome in everybody in chat that's just coming in to join us. I see you coming in. We appreciate you being here. February 4th of 2021, Tammy's autopsy was complete. Tammy's autopsy is complete. The details are not released. Fremont County requests the case be sent back to the prosecution office. May 24th of 2021, murder charges. A grand jury indicts Lori and Chad on new charges, including first-degree murder and conspiracy to commit murder. June 8th of 2021 through November 16th of 2022, a competency evaluations. Those months of repeated evaluation, and on November 16th, 2022, is ruled fit to stand trial. That was for her Idaho cases. On March 2nd, 2023, after several assurances that the cases against Chad and Lori would be tried together, new DNA split the cases. Lori wants a speedy trial, while Chad's law team wants more time to examine the new evidence. Lori's trial is scheduled for April 3rd. And at first, they were to be combined, and then they were severed. April 3rd of 2023, Lori's trial begins. 18 jurors approved by April 7th, and opening arguments began on April 10th. Judge Steve Boyce rules the jury not be sequestered for the trial. Lori faces 6 Idaho charges, including first-degree murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and grand theft. Now, this one is about Brandon Boudreaux. She is also charged in conspiracy to commit Brandon's murder he was married to her niece Melanie, and there was an attempt made on his life as well. Okay, so the ex-husband of Lori's niece, Melanie Pulowski, testified that he and his former wife had a close relationship, became closer. He fought his wife about new beliefs Lori had. Brandon testified that after the divorce, someone shot at him outside his new house from a Jeep that looked like one Tylee owned. Tylee did own a Jeep, and it is believed that whoever attempted that was using Tylee's Jeep. April 13, 2023, Melanie Gibb testifies. Lord, I about had enough of her on that damn Dateline interview the other night. Lori's former best friend, Melanie Gibb, takes the stand, telling prosecutors about the September 22nd, 2019 trip to Rexburg, Idaho that Lori and Chad took JJ and Tylee on. Melanie visited during the trip and stayed with Lori. She detailed comments Lori made that she believed JJ was possessed. It was the last known time JJ was seen. Yeah, Lori's a goddess. She can do anything. April 14th, 2023, texts and emails in court. Arizona detectives detail an email sent on June 29th of 2019 from Charles to Tammy. Now, Charles did via email to Chad's wife, Tammy. Those emails were opened and then deleted. We don't know who opened them and who read them. Good morning, Leslie and Billy. Thanks for coming in. Arizona detectives detail an email sent on June 29th from Charles to Tammy warning her that something had been gone between their spouses. Charles warned Lori that he had Tammy's contact information before sending it. He was later killed by Lori's brother on July 11th. He shouldn't have told her he was going to send that email. April 18th, 2023, but I don't think he expected what she would do either. Lori's son testifies. Colby Ryan, Lori's only surviving child, takes the stand detailing his relationships before their death. A call between Colby and Lori during her time in prison is placed in the courtroom where he directly accuses, we have that audio as well we can play this morning, of that jailhouse phone call between the two. In prison is played in the courtroom where he directly accused Lori of murdering his siblings and ending the call by stating, "She ripped my heart out." Lori's sister testifies. We also have a jailhouse call between Lori and her sister. Summer Shiflett and this was April 2023. Summer Shiflett testifies, telling the court she thought Lori to be a good and protective mother, but felt lied to about Lori's children being safe. In a phone call played for the jury between Summer and Lori, Summer screamed at her sister, "You were in Hawaii dancing on the beach while your kids are in the ground." Welcome in, Semi-Sharp. I watch on my TV a lot at night when I'm just around. I'm like, I'm going to go watch it on my big TV, and I'll turn it on. Then you really interact, and you're like, oh, let me grab the phone so I can interact. April 26, 2023. JJ's cause of death revealed. A forensic pathologist testifies that JJ was killed by asphyxiation and detailed how his body was discovered in red pajamas wrapped in layers of plastic. Let me get the banner up, guys. It's sensitive topics being discussed. It's true crime. Is it up there? Yeah. He said Tylee's remains, however, were found dismembered and burned. They were so destroyed that the manner of death could not be determined. It's pathetic. April 27, 2023, DNA evidence links Chad and Alex. Forensic biologists and scientists testified that from a pickaxe taken from Chad Daybell's shed matches the DNA profile of Tylee. Fingerprints were found on the plastic at JJ's burial belonging to Alex, Lori's brother. On April 28th of 2023, Tammy's sister testified. Samantha Gwilliam testified that Chad called to give her the news of Tammy's death, claiming she was really sick. She told the jury that it was odd to her that Chad married Lori so soon after. Chad told her, all of a sudden I couldn't read, I couldn't even see the screen. Chad told her then that there were no kids from his new wife and they would be empty nesters. Now, dude, that's just strange comments. You go and tell your current wife's sister, yeah, I'm getting married just weeks after your sister died, and my new wife doesn't have any kids. We'll be empty nesters. Good Lord. April 28th, 2023, 911 court. The 911 call recording was played from the morning of Tammy's death. The call was made by the Daybell's son, Garth, who found Tammy's body. Chad then over the 911 call to give his address and was weeping. And was weeping in his sad little sick ass voice, kind of like Stern's little sick voice. Email deleted. I can't stand grown men who whine like babies. Like, be a man already. More of a man than I am. Jesus. Email deleted. Tammy's coworkers give details about the email from Charles Vallow, which was found in her deleted folder. One of Tammy's close coworkers testified that she saw Tammy the day before she died, looking happy and healthy. So how do you go from happy and healthy to on death's door the very next day, right? Unless you were being poisoned. May 1, 2023, Lori's DNA linked. A hair, that's a movable object. A hair found attached to the adhesive that's understood to be part of layers of tape and plastic found with JJ's body proves to be a match for Lori's DNA. Now, wouldn't you think that since all this took place on Chad's property, why is a random hair of Lori's and Chad said Tammy was still, I mean, come on, Lori, you there? You're in the backyard. You're all up in that shed, shedding your long blonde hair. Mm-hmm. May 1, 2023, Larry Woodcock speaks out. I love me some Larry Woodcock. Let me tell you. J.J. Vallow's grandparents, Larry and Kay Woodcock, attend the trial hearings and sit in the same spot in the courtroom. After Lori's DNA is tied to the scene, Larry states outside the courtroom that he believes it is the nail in the coffin for her. Well, Jeff, it's her Jesus now. It could be Satan, but it's her Jesus. And she wants us and her Jesus, not our Jesus. The one that talks to her. Am I cutting in and out, dude? Thank you. All right, I don't know why. Maybe because I haven't got up and bought myself a more expensive headset yet. I'm still playing around with this cheap one. So, Forrest, was it better yesterday using StreamYard versus today? I don't know if it's me, this cheap headset, or if it's the platform. So you guys let me know if I'm cutting in and out too much. We can definitely try to run over to StreamYard and see if that helps. Running in and out. Gosh, I've noticed that on a couple of times when I try to listen to a stream back. So I think it might be this headset, honestly, because I've got really good signal right now on my internet. Okay, so if I cut out and when I was listening to a playback, or like when I'm listening yesterday, I think it was Dolphin, she cut out, but when she back on, it picked right back up where I didn't miss anything she was saying. So if you guys are missing things, let me know. Okay. Because it could very well be this sketchy platform we're using, because I couldn't even connect to this platform at all yesterday. J.J. Vallow's grandparents, Larry and Kay Woodcock, attend the trial hearings and sit in the same spot in the courtroom. After Lori's, we read that, was the nail in the coffin. That's what Larry thought. Y'all gonna make me have to order a new headset by the end of the day, because now I'm all like, they can't hear me. And it's not cool when your host is cutting in and out. I get it. May 1, 2023, Tammy's death determined a homicide. Utah's chief medical examiner testified that Tammy Daybell was I forgot that was on. Restrained around the time of her death and killed by asphyxiation in 2019. Until opening arguments, it was previously believed her cause of death was cardiac arrest. A bombshell testimony, May 3rd of 2020, completely sharing the defense by sharing that Lori had threatened to kill her, cut her up, and bury her, information she had not shared during pretrial testimony. Don't move my head. Yeah, that's so hard for me, Pokemon. Like, I'm moving all over the place. What startled you? Was it me? Text reveals Lori and Chad. Oh, my phone ringing probably. Let me turn that thing off. Let me put my silence on my phone. Now, there we go. Text messages between Lori and Chad revealed the two tracking death percentages of their family members, insinuating the closer to 0%, the closer the person would be to death. The exchanges also included talk of a perfectly orchestrated plan to kill the children. May 12th, 2023, she is found guilty. The jury found Lori guilty of each of the 6 charges that she faced in Idaho. Faces one more charge for the conspiracy to commit a murder of Charles Vallow in Arizona, and is expected to stand trial in August of 2024. And that's about the gist of that backstory on that. Let me check the court stream here. Even if we started a few minutes late, that's fine too, because I can stop and commentate if we need to or want to. Okay, it doesn't appear that it has started yet. There's 2 people I know for a fact that we're going to air it. I don't know if you can get on the stream directly. You know what I mean? Like we can with Idaho from there. Yeah, it's not on yet, so we got a few more minutes here. So I haven't even looked into where I can watch it from, but I know Court TV is covering it live, and so is the docket. If you guys aren't familiar with the docket, he's great. He does a lot of FOIA requests and gets a lot of court records for us and things of that nature. He's done a lot of the FOIA requests over in the Stearns case. Ringer was loud, made me look up like my ringer is loud because I'm deaf. I have to keep it up loud. And I'll leave that thing in my room. My son will be like, your phone's ringing. I'm like, and I'm not running to it and breaking my neck. They can either leave me a message or I'll call them back in like 2 seconds. Do y'all run, break your neck when your phone rings? I don't. There was a time we didn't have those things attached to our hips. If I wasn't home, I just wasn't at home, right? It's the way I look at it. Oh, thank you, Joanne. Thank you for joining and becoming a lead investigator. We are putting together more and more content for members only. So you guys keep an eye on the membership tab on the YouTube channel. And you can see what's coming down the pike. And I do try to remember to like release things early there that I'm working on or doing, give you guys a sneak peek on stuff to come up. So while let me get to my playlist I had set up for this morning, so we can go over a few things before they actually start the hearing. Excuse me, some interesting things. Okay, drop that. Yeah, Eric at the docket, he is great. He really is. I watch him quite a bit. He doesn't have. There's some new interviews that came out with Stefan Stearns and Jennifer Soto. They're actually interviews we already have out, but these are like newer, unredacted versions. And I am putting together a show based around those new, the new stuff that's come out. And I was checking the docket this morning while I had a few minutes, looking for anything new in the Stearns case as well. That will probably be tomorrow's show, actually, because Dolphin and I have been talking about it, and I can go and get the PDFs off Patreon, because if I do a FOIA request, it's going to take a minute to get that information back, or I can just review the videos that Plunder put out. I haven't decided which way I'm going to do it yet, but I do intend to get all that together for us to present, because that's I've been covering that case since I started streaming. It's like the first case I jumped into. And I have a lot of the audio interviews and stuff like that on the channel. I gotta get my playlists better organized for you guys, because they're kind of all over the place right now. I'm not real good at going back and putting a live stream in the correct playlist. I do need to get better about that. So any suggestions you guys have along the way. We're going to take a look at this clip here. This was I think it's kind of low. I got it turned up, and I found a second one that was actually louder. So this is the loudest one that I could find. This is, uh-oh. Did I hit the wrong button? Apparently I did. Okay. This is in Rexburg, the day they announced that they have found the children in his backyard. So we'll take a look at this.
With introductions real quickly. I'm Chief Shane Sherman with the Rexburg Police Department.
Wait, can you guys hear that at all? Let me know, because I cannot.
My Assistant Chief of Police, Gary Hagan. And then to his right is Sheriff Lynn Humphreys of Fremont County.
Hang on.
Today, Officer Hagan will be giving the release, and so I'll turn
I
the
can't
time
hear
over
it
to
at
him.
all. Can you guys hear that?
Okay, we first like to thank everybody for coming out today.
Okay.
Thank everybody that's been following this case from day one. This has been a very trying thing for everybody involved, and we just want to emphasize how thankful we are for everybody. Again, my name is Assistant Chief Gary Hagan. Spelling of my last name is Hagen, Hagen. Wanted to give a brief press release today about some events that have occurred today in regards to our missing children's case of Tylee Ryan and Joshua Vallow. This morning we served the Rexburg Police Department and the Fremont County Sheriff's Office and the FBI served a search warrant in the 200 block of 1900 East here in Fremont County, also known as Chad Daybell's residence. Throughout the investigation, detectives and investigators have recovered what's believed to be human remains.
Yeah, there's nothing I can do about the sound, guys. It's on
that have not
their
been
end.
identified at this time. We are not going to answer any questions at this time in regards to any of the further the investigation until we have more details, but we were wanting to get this out to let everybody know before there's speculation or rumor that starts flying. So again, we're not going to take any questions at this time. That we'll save that for a later press conference when we have more details. But again, we just want to reemphasize how much appreciation we have for you guys for coming.
If you guys can't hear it that well, we can play another piece, because if it's so low, you know, it's hard to hear it. It's aggravating. I understand that. I wish that when they do press conferences, they mic up a whole lot better, because some you have to struggle to hear and some you don't have to struggle at all.
Out here and for covering this and for the families and friends of everybody involved. So we appreciate it. Thank you.
Can you just repeat what you said about human remains?
Okay.
Please walk that back here.
I'm sorry again.
Can you just repeat what you said about human remains?
Okay. So during the investigation, the investigators and detectives have recovered what's believed to be human remains that are not identified at this time. There is, I do want to add that
I don't know what just happened to it.
Chad Daybell, who resides at that residence, has also been taken into custody for questioning in regards to that. And again, we'll give further press release at a later time and take questions regarding more when we have that. So, okay, thank you.
Are you expecting that
We're not for sure yet. So, as soon as we find out, I'll let everybody know. Okay.
human remains of one or two bodies?
There's not a lot there we can take away to begin with, and it's so low. That's super aggravating. We have more to look at, though. Okay, there haven't the Hearing hasn't started yet. I was checking that before we presented anything else. All right, let me get this up now. Okay, so I don't know why my stuff wants to play automatically. Not taking any questions, yet he answered two. Yeah. Chad was near the place. And let's see what we have. Okay, that's what we just looked at. How many of you got to watch the interview she did with Dateline? I don't know if everybody's seen it yet or not. This is a 2-minute clip about that. I watched the whole thing. Let me get this up. And we're just kind of going through a case review here while we're waiting on this thing to come up, this hearing this morning. Uh-oh. All right, so this was a piece about the interview she did.
As they brought her from her cell at a women's jail near Phoenix, she winked at the camera. Hello, come on in. Before sitting for her first ever TV interview, a sign of things to come.
Are you keeping track?
Oh, yeah, I'm keeping track. She is Lori Vallow, once labeled the most hated mother in America, convicted of murdering her own 2 children, 16-year-old Tylee and 7-year-old JJ.
Hey, Chad and Lori, where are your kids?
She was caught with her new husband and spiritual guru, Chad Daybell, in 2020, and months later investigators found the children's bodies in Chad's backyard pet cemetery. Tonight, those investigators speak out for the first time.
That was a very emotional moment.
Did a number on you?
Yeah, those are memories that, don't go away.
Also speaking out, Lori Vallow's only surviving son, Colby.
I felt really guilty for even being the only one that didn't get killed, I guess, for a long time.
Now, charged with murdering her 4th husband, Lori Vallow is representing herself.
I'm in trial coming up, as you know. Do you know that, Keith?
She'll remain in prison for life, no matter what happens in her upcoming trial. Chad Daybell is on death row. But for Lori, it's as if the evidence and her convictions don't exist at all. You did not kill a soul.
Absolutely
You didn't
not.
participate in killing a soul.
No.
You didn't conspire to kill a soul.
Correct.
You didn't do any of those things you've been convicted of doing.
Correct.
Lori Vallow, as unrepentant as ever, as she prepares to face justice again. Keith Morrison, NBC News, Los Angeles.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news.
She's a little cray-cray, y'all. I mean, there's no other way to put that. That lady is, well, they found her competent, so maybe she's not crazy. She just believes in what she believes. But how can you say, yes, they believe in all of this stuff, but yet they're not crazy, right? I mean, is it having a specific religious belief make you crazy? Do you know what I mean? So I guess she's competent, but she still believes what she believes. But I think most of us will be like, you're not real competent if you believe all that. But I think that's, separation of church and state's been an issue for years and years. Like even there's parents out there who won't seek medical treatment for their children, because of religious beliefs, and we can't be invoking on their religious beliefs and all that kind of stuff. So I guess she's competent. She just believes what she believes. Okay. I'm kind of looking at the order and seeing what I want to show you guys next. Here is the one where we got Chad arrested, I believe. We'll take a look at this one. Okay.
We are following breaking news in Idaho, where Rexburg police say human remains have been discovered on Chad Daybell's property.
This may be the break in the case authorities have been looking for after J.J. Vallow and Tylee Ryan disappeared in September of last year.
Fox 13's Lauren Steinbrecher is live in Salem, Idaho tonight with details on this major development. Lauren.
Yeah, absolutely, Kelly and Bob. A huge day, probably one of the biggest in this case so far. We're going to show you where we're at. We're across the field from Chad Daybell's home, and we're going to zoom way in here to where you can see some tents are set up outside on Chad's property, as well as investigators have been walking around. Investigators from the Rexburg Police Department, the Fremont County Sheriff's Office, as well as the FBI and evidence response team. We're told about 20 members of the FBI, and this is where we believe they have found what they've confirmed to be those human remains. Now, Rexburg police at this point are not confirming or can't identify those remains, but they did say, you know, they were out here serving this warrant in relation to JJ and Tylee, who have been missing since September. They have taken Chad in for questioning. When we spoke to that witness, earlier today, of course, everybody here in Rexburg, they know who Chad is now, and she could not believe that she was driving by right as this happened.
It was just weird because he came past, and then all of a sudden there's all these cops just, you know, and one of them was kind of going on the outside, kind of trying to surround him. And so they got him to pull over and got him to get out of his car.
And Rexburg police not really giving a lot of information this afternoon. This is pretty much all they could say about Chad, though they were adding that there may be some pending charges.
Chad Daybell, who resides at that residence, has also been taken into custody for questioning.
Now, Lori Vallow Daybell has been in jail in nearby Madison County on charges of desertion and non-support of her children. And what you're looking at right now, to the right of the center of the screen, there is a backhoe that's out in that yard. They've kind of moved that tent a little bit. And those investigators, they've been out here since this morning. I believe about 7 a.m. is what they said when they started serving that search warrant. 11:30 a.m. is when they took Chad into custody. So, of course, right now, some huge questions as far as these remains. You know, with this being related to the case of JJ and Tylee, could this be them? Could this be one of them? Of course, questions that everybody has in their mind, but we are going to continue to stay out here and follow this search and bring guys the latest as we're hearing it. For now, we're live in Salem, Idaho. Lauren Steinbrecher, Fox 13 News, Utah.
I can't see Chad, a dude that looks like a toad, convincing anyone of anything. Well, he had a little following over there, Jeff. Some of them people believed in that toad. I do believe in the supernatural, though. So do I. If Lori talked to an entity, it was a dark one. You damn right it was a dark one. And they came right up into her soul and never left. It won't convince me. She invited that evil in, her and Chad with their portals. But apparently Chad was convincing to a lot of people because they were certainly following him and his so-called teachings, you know, his teachings. Yeah, I agree with that. They didn't do it right. Okay, so this is taking a look at the, whoa, that was loud in my ear, sorry. And when this clip is done, I'll check to see if the hearing has started up yet. We'll play this one.
First look at the booking photo of Chad Daybell. He is in the Fremont County Jail in Idaho, accused of destruction or concealment of evidence.
Today, investigators say they found human remains on his property. We do have live team coverage tonight in Idaho. Fox 13's Adam Herbetz is right outside the Fremont County Jail right now.
But we begin with Lauren Steinbrecher near Chad Daybell's home in Salem. Lauren.
Yeah, Bob and Kelly, so tonight you can kind of see this area behind me. This is where we saw investigators this evening. Some lights this evening to keep this area lit up. You can see that blue tent and how far that is into the ground and what appears to be a dig site that's so deep they brought in a backhoe just to dig down. A dig site sits empty in Chad Daybell's yard at the end of a long day for law enforcement, where they made a massive discovery.
During the search of the property, investigators discovered what appeared to be unidentified human remains, and an autopsy will be conducted.
Human remains. Not sure yet who those remains belong to, but this is related to the disappearance of JJ and Tylee, police say. It's why the Rexburg Police Department, Fremont County Sheriff's Office, and FBI Evidence Response Team showed up at 7 a.m. with a search warrant, zeroing in on this part of the yard. Around 4 hours later,
they got him arrested. They've legit got Chad Daybell arrested.
Two women driving on a road near Chad's home record police putting Chad in handcuffs.
It was just weird because he came past and then all of a sudden there's all these cops just, and one of them was kind of going on the outside, kind of trying to surround him. And so they got him to pull over and got him to get out of his car.
At first, police said they took Chad in for questioning. Not too long later,
shortly after the remains were discovered, Chad Daybell was taken into custody and booked into the Fremont County Jail.
Chad is facing felony charges, the sheriff's office confirms, while there still aren't hard answers in what happened to JJ and Tylee. It appears it's a huge step closer in the case, potentially a step closer to closure for the kids' families who have waited months for answers.
And as this area gets lit up by those lights tonight, it looks like some officers, law enforcement, are out here kind of guarding this property, where it sounds like they'll be here all night, making sure nobody comes out here to disturb this property. Now, the sheriff's office or the Rexburg Police Department said those remains are going to be sent in for an autopsy, and it sounds like they will be out here again tomorrow morning. We will also be out here again tomorrow morning, closely following that investigation. Live in Salem, Idaho, Lauren Steinbrecher.
Ooh. I'm sorry, I was a kid reading you guys chats as they come in. Right, there's a what is that? A metholitholic. Okay, so Methodist and Lutheran combined. I'm raised in the deep South, and we're over here in the Bible Belt. So I was raised Southern Baptist, but today, actually my entire adult life, I'm spiritual, but I don't associate with a particular religion. Does that make sense? Like, I just take all the good parts of what I like, and that's me. I like the light. I do not like the dark. Dark doesn't like me. Let me put it that way. Let me say that the right way. You want a tango, devil? Let's go. I think I've already proven that I'm the bigger person. Okay. Roman Catholics, you guys. And there's so many different things that come out of different religions. It is what they took. It's like the Odinists over in Delphi, with incorporating paganism into their brand of Odinism and this white supremacy and different things. They took all these things they wanted and then twisted them to make it their own, right? And in this case, there's a certain particular type of spirituality out there. And they do believe in past lives. And I'm not going to say that I don't. I'm not going to sit here and tell you past lives don't exist, because I think I could have been from the 1800s, honestly, a pioneer woman. I think I lived that whole life. I know too much about it in my head not to have been there. I don't know. I can't explain it. But when they were taking some of the things and I've even looked at some of the stuff Kresha has been talking about, they take it and then they twist it into their own form, right? Even, I think, because at the time Chad was coming out with this spirituality talk about the portals and different things, I know there was a lot of information out there at that time about that type of stuff. But there were people who absolutely will walk in the dark, and those that will walk in the light. When they walk in the dark, they're over here trying to do ceremonies and witch concoctions and casting spells on people and all this demon-y type stuff. Walking in the light, you don't do any of that. You only wish good upon. You can do a healing crystal set and it be all about the good vibes. Or I can turn around and make one all about the dark vibes and point it directly at somebody. But I don't do that. You know, they take and twist a lot of things, and so it doesn't reflect on all religions are bad. You know what I mean? 'Cause I don't believe that. I've got a very close family members who are very religious, but you know, I don't see it as they're. But if you start looking back through the LSD teachings, you got some problems. Just like nobody can deny there was past problems in the Catholic Church with, you know, molestation of young boys. You could no longer deny it at some point. LDS can no longer deny what they're teaching people. You look at Jody Hildebrandt, right? She was from the Mormon Church. They literally would send people to Jody for therapy because we like Jody, you know, and Jody's going to teach you the right way. Well, the whole entire time, Jody was abusing the hell out of children, and the whole entire church just like, oh, we don't care. That's Jody doing her thing. She knows better. Is it, or is it LDS teachings? You know, I've got a real problem with some of their religious teachings and over here and what they do. And then you got freaks like these people who will take it and twist it and do what they want. You know, it's crazy to me. I'm gonna play this piece now. I checked the court thing again. It's not up yet. Speaking of MC, what's Publicly Buzz got going on over there? I think Joe co-hosted Feral Friday with him this past weekend, didn't he? Okay, let me get this piece up. Don't make me go casting spells, y'all. I was so glad Idaho fixed their docket when I'm looking at Brian Koberger's shit. I ain't got to run down there and bump into Lori accidentally. I was scared I was going to get a spell thrown on me just from being anywhere near her stuff. Okay. Yeah, Steve deserves it. That's Publicly Buzz link there that Pokemon dropped. You guys go over and check him out if you're not familiar with his work and the different thing. He's got a lot of different things he streams on over there. So you go, Steve. All right, we'll play this piece. And I'm going to go grab a fresh cup of coffee while it starts.
CBS 5 Investigates uncover new information in the case of two missing children from Chandler.
We have learned that a big life insurance policy is involved in this crazy and confusing story.
Yeah, several people now tangled up in a web of murder, missing kids, and scandal. And now most of them are dead or haven't been seen again.
Chief investigative reporter Morgan Lowe has details you will only see here.
Fire department, what is the address of the emergency?
The 911 call came in at just after 8:30 in the morning, July 11th.
I got in a fight with my brother-in-law and I shot him in self-defense.
A man named Alex Cox calmly stating he had just shot and killed his brother-in-law in self-defense. A Chandler police body cam captured what happened when officers arrived on the scene.
You know, no weapons? No weapons on me. All right, come on out this way. I'm going to have you have a seat right here on the curb.
And what they saw when they entered the home.
Chandler Police Department, anybody inside, make yourself known.
Empty rooms, mattresses on the bedroom floors, a handgun, and the body of 62-year-old Charles Vallow laying on the ground in the living room. Outside, police questioned the shooter.
You know, what happened today, though? Like, just in the last 20 minutes?
He came at me with a bat. I turned around, and he hit me in the back of the head with a bat. So I went to my room and got my gun.
Did you stay in your bedroom?
No.
Okay, why didn't you stay just in your bedroom, close the door? Is that something you didn't think about, or?
It didn't even occur to me. And he came at me with the bat again after he'd already hit me in the head, so I shot him to stop him.
Okay.
The audio is muted during the police interview with Charles Vallow's wife, Lori, and his stepdaughter, Tylee. But the police report indicates they relayed similar stories. There was an argument between Charles and Lori. Tylee came out of her room with a bat. Charles took the bat, struck Lori's brother Alex. Alex shot Charles in self-defense.
Him.
That was a setup.
And it will come out. It will come out. It was an ambush.
No doubt in my mind.
Kay and Larry Woodcock are Charles Vallow's sister and brother-in-law, and they believe Charles' wife, Lori, wanted him dead.
She was so spoiled, it was ridiculous. And he did, he spoiled her, and she became a monster, just a monster.
Court paperwork obtained by CBS 5 Investigates paints a picture of turmoil surrounding Lori Vallow in the months before the shooting. Lori up and left her family for 2 months in February of 2019. She cleared out their bank account. She said she was receiving spiritual revelations and visions, told Charles she would kill him and destroy him financially, and began obsessing over an author of doomsday books who lived in Idaho. What can you tell me about Chad Daybell?
Chad Daybell is an interesting character.
Rich Robertson is a private investigator hired by Charles and Lori's relatives. He describes Daybell's religious beliefs and followers as a cult.
Even though he was up in Idaho and she was down here, there seemed to be a very, very close, almost intimate relationship between the two.
Except for two problems. Lori was married and Chad was also married.
Yeah, they were both married, and interestingly, both of their spouses wound up dead in a very short time from each other.
According to the obituary, Tamara Daybell died in her sleep October 19th. Weeks later, Chad and Lori were married in Rexburg, Idaho. By November, relatives were starting to worry. Lori's two children, 7-year-old JJ and 17-year-old Tylee, hadn't been seen in months.
Rexburg police went out and contacted Lori, who was with Chad at that point, and asked about the kids. And Lori said, "They're not here. They're with my friend in Arizona." So we contacted the police here and asked them to do the welfare check on the kids. And that's when the friend said, "They're not here, and they haven't been here." So at that point, somebody was lying.
Where are your children?
Lori and Chad have refused to answer any questions from the press or police. Lori's brother, Alex, is now suspected of trying to kill another relative, a shooting in October. 10 years ago, he was convicted of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon against Lori's previous husband. That man died unexpectedly in 2018. And Alex Cox himself was found dead in his Gilbert home in December. That brings us back to the beginning of our story, a fatal shooting in Chandler. The Charles Vallow death. You have Lori, who was there and saw what happened.
Right.
You have Alex, who was there and pulled the trigger, but he's dead now. And Tylee, the other witness, is missing.
Tylee certainly was a witness to Charles' shooting, and if anybody knows what really happened, if there is a different story to tell, it could have been Tylee to tell that story. Does that have anything to do with why she is missing? I certainly hope not, but you got to consider that as a possibility.
CBS 5 Investigates has learned of a potentially critical new piece of information that has never been reported before. According to two sources with first-hand knowledge of Charles Vallow's personal finances, he had a sizable life insurance policy. But that was news to Chandler police when we asked them about it last week. Are your detectives aware that there might have been a money motive involved in this?
Not that I'm aware of. It's the first I'm hearing about it.
Maybe that there was a life insurance policy on Charles Vallow?
Nothing in our report, basically, from what I've read and what I've talked to detectives, has that information that I'm aware of.
According to Sergeant Jason McClymans, detectives are still processing evidence, so the case is still open. But he says everything still points to self-defense. So we have a shooter, Alex Cox, who's dead, but the investigation is still open. Does that mean that it's a possibility that somebody else could have been involved in this, or there's another theory other than just self-defense?
I cannot get into that at this point, at that time, because the investigation is still open, so I can't answer that question at this time.
Charles, he's just not that way.
Larry and Kay Woodcock say Charles did not have it in him to get violent with anybody. So the idea that he attacked Alex is a non-starter.
You can't fight with someone who's not going to fight back.
They believe the real story of what happened inside that Chandler home in July will come out someday. They and the rest of the family are praying that JJ and Tylee turn up soon. Why don't the police just arrest Lori and Chad and take them into custody?
That's obviously a question for the police.
Had we had probable cause in July or up until the point where these kids are missing, I assure you we probably would have made an arrest.
And at this point in time, there are no criminal charges filed in any of these cases, not the deaths and not the disappearance of Tylee and JJ. If you want to take a deeper dive into this story, we've created a family tree here, a timeline of the events that will answer all of your questions. You can find it on our mobile app and at azfamily.com.
Lord, they created a family tree, y'all. You better be careful doing that. Yeah, Larry and Kay are something else. We're going to look at some stuff from them while we're waiting on the hearing to come up as well. So Joe is on the boots on the ground. We see that he is in the courthouse now, and he's sitting near, who did he say, Nate, Lauren from Hidden True Crime, and he named somebody else. Who did he say? Oh, thank you, Truth. I'll check that in just a second. Joe, well, I don't know if Joe can hear us. He's in the courtroom, but I typed it. Be careful in there, dude. You're sitting here. You sitting near somebody I know you don't. That's so funny. Kay and Larry are heroes in this case for pushing the police. Yes, ma'am, Joanne. I wholeheartedly agree with that. They're steadfast, and they've never wavered. They've been there. And people want to talk about how going to Idaho for a second, moving Kohberger's case to Ada County is best for Kohberger, all these things. But what they don't forget is or don't want to even think about are the victims and the victims' families. Larry and Kay had to go through the same thing because those trials were moved to Ada County from Rexburg. They had to rent a damn house, and to stay in just to be present during the entire trial. The families in Idaho are facing the same thing. Justin. Okay, thanks, Joe. They're facing the same thing, and people are making a big deal about how there's like GoFundMe's to help with that kind of thing. And you know what? If you don't want to help those families don't help them, but don't go out and talk shit about them because they're trying to get there to support their dead child or a family member in any capacity. It's none of your business. Stay out of it. You are not the victim. Your family member wasn't the victim. So who are you to even have the right to say what these families should and shouldn't be doing? You have none whatsoever. And I'm speaking in general to YouTube streets right there. I get so aggravated over that. It's like y'all can say and do a lot of you want, but just to say families have no rights and all these ridiculous things you state are just that, ridiculous. Okay, let's get to these two calls I wanted to play. We'll go with this first one. It is a jailhouse call between Colby and his mom, Lori. And I'll keep checking the court thing as we're watching this to see if it has started yet. I don't know if a lot of you have seen or heard any of this or not, so I'm just kind of getting it out there for those who haven't. Okay, so like I said, this was a jailhouse call recorded between Lori and her son, Colby, and Colby was her oldest child. And I think Pokemon dropped his link to his channel in here. Colby has a YouTube channel, and he talks very openly and honestly about his mother and all they've been through. So go check him out.
Hello? Hello?
And I think the sound on this one's better than that one interview we were trying to watch earlier. So I hope y'all can hear it well. Everything's turned up as loud as it'll go. I had a booster on the computer, but it really messed things up. So I had to get rid of it, and I'm searching for a new booster. So if anybody has any suggestions, Pokemon, you might know of somebody else who streams who uses a good booster I can add on, because I do want to get that so we can get these things louder if possible. I'm not sure what Grizzly True Crime uses over there, but I am looking into some different avenues.
Can you hear me? Yeah. You think you can hide from me? hurt my siblings. That's probably why he's hugging you. Maybe you should understand.
I didn't. I'm sorry that you feel that way.
You didn't do anything, right? Mom, I've prayed for you in my worst moments. I prayed for my siblings who swore to me we're okay. I thought I could trust you. I thought that you were a completely different person. I don't know a murderous mother.
You can make judgments when you weren't there and you don't know what happened.
What happened?
Everyone's making their own judgments.
Mom, you've been shoving BS on my throat for a very long time. I'm going to talk to you.
You can be mad.
Sweet. Hey, listen to me. I'm not mad. Listen to me. Fine, listen to me. I've sat there and prayed. I can't tell you the amount of pain that I have felt from your decisions in Jesus Christ's name. It kills me to watch you sit here and tell me this is a trial. It kills me to watch you take the victim's route and say that this shouldn't have happened to you. When you are telling me that Chad Daybell came into your life and all of a sudden everything changes. And I'm talking about my spirit feels this. I prayed. I trusted you. I gave you every chance I could past my own limitations as a human being. I pushed past all of everything to try to get to you, to help my own mother. You lied to me, specifically to me, more times than I can count about this. To know that they're gone and you knew, and my phone's being texted by my little sister who's not even alive, my little brother who's the sweetest little kid ever, for what purpose? Can you tell me if this is God's will for my whole family, including my stepfather, to be dead? After everything that you try to tell me, you can tell me right now that Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world, is on your side. You tell me that with all the conviction in your heart that Jesus Christ is on your side right now. Please.
I can't tell you that.
Say it. Say his name. Say that he told you. And you followed him like exactness. Because I have prayed for you. I sat there and tried my best to forgive you and Chad and Alex. And I was deceived. And I was broken by my own mother. What are you doing? What are you doing? I prayed to Heavenly Father, and I said, you tell me, Father.
All guys have all made these judgments. They think they know what happened. They think
I don't care
they
about
know
other people.
what happened. They think they know who's responsible.
Do you know that you told me?
Everything.
Do you know what you told me?
Because you weren't there. So
You're right. I wasn't there. I was kept in the lap.
And one day,
two kids
you will know.
Murder.
One day,
Murder.
you will know what actually happened.
You're right. Because you know what, Mom?
And we all will stand there with
everything into the light. You're absolutely right. He will convict the people who act in his name with pure blasphemy. Is this funny? This is funny. This is funny. You're laughing. Like, this is funny. How come your camera's on, Mom? You don't want to look at me in the eye? Why can't you look at me? It's just you and me. I'm in my house alone.
I love you. I always will. One day you will see and one day you will understand.
Go ahead and hang up.
I do love you.
See how that works for you. You gonna hang up?
I don't have anything else to say. You obviously don't know.
Let me tell you
You
something,
weren't there. You weren't there. Summer wasn't there. My mom wasn't there. The police weren't there. The FBI weren't there.
You're right.
Nobody was there.
Kylie and JJ, Mom.
Yeah, and guess what? They know. They know exactly what happened. And they love me. And we are still together forever. They love me. And they are fine. And they do know the truth. And I know the truth. And we're the only people that do. So you can judge me, Colby, all day long. Go ahead and judge me. The whole world has. The whole world has judged me.
Listen to me.
They don't know, and you don't know. You don't know what I've been through, and you don't even give a crap what they've been through. Nobody does. Except for me. I'm the one that knows. I'm the one that was in the hospital with Tylee for hundreds of days watching her suffer. I'm the one that was there doing everything with JJ every day. I was the one who did it all these years.
You did it all to throw it in the garbage. They're not.
You don't know what happened. You don't know what happened.
Freaking matter what happened if they're buried in your new husband's backyard. Tell me that matters what happened. You tell me that you did this in Jesus' name, Mom. I have to hear that out of your mouth. If you believe it, then you are not afraid. Every witness of Christ will scream his name when he comes back. So you are that person.
I am that person. I am that person.
Christ,
and he will come to me. Oh, yeah, Colby, because that's what it is.
Okay.
You don't even know. You weren't even there, and you don't even know.
When I asked you about Tylee in October, what did you tell me? What did you tell me? What lies did you feed me? Why would you lie to me if you're with the Lord and you've seen him, and I'm just talking purely to you, and you've seen Jesus Christ, where's the fear? Why wouldn't you tell me something? Why were you afraid? Why is everyone against you? Why is everything against my mom?
You can be against me all you want. One day, we will all stand there with Jesus. We will all stand there with Jesus, and you will know the truth of everything. Not for me.
You're telling me that this was all done in light. Say it. Tell me that this was done in Jesus' name.
You don't know what happened.
Why? Why don't I know, Mom? Oh, because I was kept in the dark to protect me? You know who needed protecting? My little dead siblings. That's who needed protecting, Mom. This is not...
Is that what you think you did?
You ran away.
I hadn't been
killed. A month later, you ran away. I never wanted you guys to leave. I would have taken those kids in 1 second. I would bring them into my home, and I would have taken care of them. That's not even a question to me.
Yeah, everybody
You can't say that you know.
Everybody says that.
Says it now? Where was my offer? Where was the offer? Well, you had everything for them. While me and Peter Griffin run away together to Hawaii? How about that? If you would have offered me, you would have known. You cannot sit here and lie.
That's what everybody thinks. That is not the truth. Okay? That's what people are thinking.
They were murdered,
They're
put in the
assuming.
ground, and then you walk away. So
You don't know. No, you don't know that. No, that is not what happened. That is not what happened.
You tell me what happened. If you can tell me what happened, then I don't care. If you can actually explain it, then it's different.
I would love
but you can't
talk to you about it.
Mom, you've been saying that you've been wanting to tell me for a very long time, and you never say it. You have no idea how much pain I have felt in my body. I feel like I could die. My own mom, my siblings, and my whole family, my dad, everyone is gone except for you, and you're in jail because of it. I have prayed to Heavenly Father himself and asked him to help me survive this. Do you understand the freaking earthquake that has been caused? Do you know how many people are hurt and broken now? And you're telling me that there's a reason? Why are you that is not good? How can you follow someone that cannot lead you to salvation in Jesus, Mom? You can't lie to me anymore. You can't pretend anymore. You can't hide anymore. If you want to tell me what happened, I called you for that very reason. You had enough condemnation for the whole time and eternity, but you're telling me that you're going to stand in front of Jesus Christ and you're going to be fine. That I'm still praying for you. I am still praying for you. I don't know where the lies and all these things are written. I don't see it. I never have. The light of Jesus Christ is the most powerful thing that's ever lived. It's the most loving, embracive thing that has ever happened to this world. And I pray that you see him and fall into his grace. I pray every day. I pray, no matter how mad I am at you, no matter how bad I want to hit your husband in the face with a shovel, I pray for you. I pray for him. You ripped my heart out, and you ripped out everyone in this family's heart out. I'm going to be in Idaho this week. You need to look me in my eye, Mom. Look me in my eye.
Right now.
That's just insane, isn't it? She's sidestepping and trying to get it instead of, even back then during that call, well, nobody knows what happened, and she's still telling Keith Morrison that on the recent interview that we saw with her. But yet Lori doesn't come out and say what happened, right? Because she knows that she can't, because what they did was unjustifiable. And in her mind it is, but I guess that's what she wants people to believe. But how can you continue to say, well, nothing happened, and all these crazy things, and then when people were like, well, what happened? Oh, well, for her to sit there and say how her JJ and Tylee still love her, and they, she's even stated that they've forgiven her for what she had to do to them, or what had to happen to them, because she's not going to admit that she ever did anything. But yeah, it's insane. And to try to talk to somebody who is that narcissistic, right, and trying to get something out of them that is impossible, it's like pulling damn teeth. So this one is the jail phone call between Lori and her sister, Summer Shiflett. So we'll let this one play. Oops, hold on. It should be starting soon. I'm keeping a check on it. They're on Arizona time, and I'm way down here on Central time. They're a few hours difference, but I am checking. They were getting ready to start since Joe is quiet and he's not speaking anymore. So I'm checking all the places I know that are streaming it. I'm keeping a check on that, and nobody is live with it yet. So, all right, we'll play this while we're waiting. Let me get this screen up. Like I said, this is the jailhouse call between Lori and her sister, Summer.
Hi. How are you? Not good. And how are you? Not good. I don't know what to say. Do you not want to talk? I'm willing to listen if you want to talk to me. I just don't know what to say. I don't know what anybody knows. I've been in isolation for 2 weeks, so I don't know anything that's going on. I haven't talked to anyone. Well, they know that they found Tylee buried in a pet cemetery and JJ buried on Chad's backyard. And we don't understand how that happened or why. And you didn't tell us.
Yes,
You know me, son. That's what I thought. You still do. Lori, if you let that happen to them and didn't tell us and lifted me in the ground like a piece of trash, then I don't know you because you would have never done anything like that. That's correct. And if you knew and didn't tell us, that's not okay either. We love them. We would have taken them. We would have taken care of them. You could have gone on and done anything you wanted. That's what you think? I don't know what to think. None of us do. You haven't told us anything. We believed you. We stood up for you. I cannot. I would love to. You cut me and Mom off for 4 months and told everyone not to trust us because we'd tell Adam. And now we find this out and you expect me to just keep going on faith when there's been zero explanation and you expect me to just keep believing without ever having a question? I'm not saying that. That is what you're saying. Either explain it or don't expect me to not be upset and doubt you when the kids are on Chad's property. I'm not okay. I love them with all my heart. I would have taken Tylee and JJ in a heartbeat, and everybody else would have too. You know that. If they were in any danger. I have no idea what happened. You're right. Nobody does because you said nothing. Because everybody sees what's on TV. That has nothing to do with TV. This is when you're in my conversations before you left and cut me off. And now you expect me to be there for you and you were going to abandon me. And if you weren't in jail, you wouldn't even be talking to me and we wouldn't even know they were dead still. This is your opinion. Yes! I deserve more than that. I've been there for you like a rock. And I went on TV and defended you. I've done everything to defend you. And I still would right now if you would tell me the truth. I would love to. Well then. Love to. You didn't want to in October, November, December, January, or February. When you weren't in jail. Why didn't you tell us then? Why you didn't call me when Alex died, which now I'm glad he's gone, if he was a part of this, but you didn't call to tell me Alex died or that your kids are gone? Nothing? You don't think that's going to cause pain throughout our entire family? That's my intent. Well, you don't think I'm in pain? Getting married. And you took pictures to prove your kids don't deserve a burial, but you need to get wedding pictures? You don't think that's upsetting? Nobody knows. I'm sorry, honey. Then nobody knows except for you and the Lord. Yeah, ask him. I have. And guess what? I don't have one scripture that says it's okay for children to be thrown away like garbage in the ground. And that's okay. There is nothing in the scriptures that is godly about hurting a child. Nothing. And they deserve a proper burial with family that loves them at the least. I can't support that. That's hurtful to everyone. That's the most selfish, incredibly selfish thing I can think of. I can't think of anything worse. I don't understand. I don't understand. This is not my Vallow that I've known and loved. I've never even seen you be upset with your kids. I went to bat for you and said that to everyone. I never have been upset with them. I never have been. How can you just go on without them, without any upsetness, and without telling us anything, and then expect us to understand? No one knows in the world. Nobody in the world knows what I've been through. And I don't expect you to. All you've seen is what's on TV.
No, that's not
what he says, and all the influences of all the people around.
Okay, so now I'm deceived.
No,
everyone in the world is deceived except for you.
No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm not saying that. I'm saying nobody's seen me on the floor crying. Nobody knows what I've been through with my children that I love more than anything.
Lori,
Fine.
you were dancing on a beach with a smile on your face, taking wedding photos.
Yeah, months later.
You don't
trying to go on with life, trying to be happy, trying to find some kind of happiness. You think I want to be alone?
Do you think that your mother and your sister and your son don't deserve to know that the children are gone? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, it never makes any sense for children to go missing, and a allegedly caring mother seems to not care at all. I'm just going to take off to Hawaii and live my best life. My kids are gone, and maybe they'll come home one day. Lady, like you don't even talk. You didn't tell your family your kids were gone because you knew there were nefarious reasons behind why those kids were gone. It's not like, hey, we got in a car accident, children, perished. And then when Alex, the brother, dies, she doesn't even call them to let them know about that either. I wouldn't trust this lady as far as I could throw her, sister or not. You, my sister, I got three. No, I got three. I just stopped and count in my head for a second. One of my sisters comes off with some shit like this, that jailhouse ain't going to be enough to keep me away from her. I'm coming. And I'm going to be put right next to her. In fact, probably on purpose.
You call and tell us that. Why were we cut off? You saying you want to go on and be happy? You're just going to be happy without your family and your life until you're stuck in jail and I'm the only one stupid enough to be your friend when I've been your best supporter, Lori. I've loved you my whole life. I still do. I can't bear to think anything bad about you. It hurts me. I don't want to see you in jail. I don't want you to be there. I don't want people to misunderstand. If you would tell me the truth, I would stand up for you for the rest of the time. You know that I would.
I know you would.
But there is nothing okay about this. Nothing.
I know.
If you think it's okay, well, you have greatly been deceived if you
Nothing
think
about this is okay. Nothing about this is okay,
Lori,
Summer.
we have all read the scriptures. I know you've told me about a lot of your spiritual experiences. You know I've tried to support you in all of them. But I am telling you, because I love you with all my heart, please consider that Chad has lied and been deceived, and that you have been deceived, and that this is not what you think it is. There's nothing okay about killing children. Nothing. And even if you didn't kill them, and Chad didn't kill them, and Alex didn't kill them, you threw them away like garbage in the ground. Tiny's bones are burned. I can't handle that. And threw her in a pet cemetery. And you know that's so degrading. How can you let them do that? I don't understand. It's so painful. I can't even tell you. I don't know what else to say, but please consider that you have been deceived. That is not Christ-like. There's nothing good in that. There's nothing good in that. That's not a test for you. They were innocent. And they were loved. And they didn't deserve to be treated that way.
And who loved them their whole life and took care of them their whole life?
So why would you have to be buried that way?
I didn't.
Well, then come up with an explanation publicly.
It was obvious, and a lot of the things Lori states over time, talking to different people. Jay had some problems. We know that Tylee had some medical problems. But, lady, you don't just, if you're tired of being their mom, give them to Charles. Let Tylee go live with Colby. Send JJ to Charles. And then you can run off to Hawaii with Chad and live your best life. We got some memberships gifted out over here. Well, thank you, Joanne. Joanne gifted 5 memberships, and welcome to the lead investigators, Victorine. Did I say that correctly? Victorine. Pammy, girl next door, got a got to change. Ashley, all of you, welcome in. We appreciate it. Thank you for the gifting of the memberships. I appreciate that. You guys hitting the thumbs up, commenting, just being here, all helps the channel stand out in the algorithm. And we are being pushed out now, so that's thanks to all of you guys for coming in day after day with me, and well, mostly day after day. It's usually every other day, if not daily. But just coming in and being a part of it, and is so appreciated. Community to me, and I know to Joe, is huge for both of us. I prefer going into, say, like Publicly Buzzed, for instance, because and I feel like if you cultivate the right community, you're going to be in good hands, right? So it's what we're trying to do over here, is just cultivate a good community. And a lot of you guys are great, and you're coming in and you're coming back. So that means a lot to us. If Lori and Chad were honest, they'd admit that dead relatives make them big money. Yeah, part of it was the money. I mean, I think that was a bonus, though, Jeff, because they were really wanting to go live their lives and share their gospel with the world. And Chad didn't need Lori's tag along children, and so he had to come up with, they're dark all of a sudden, Lori's going to believe him. But there was so much emphasis put on that sex, love, and money in the beginning of this case. But felt like it went way deeper than some sex, love, and money. Lori got a rude awakening, though, when she realized Charles changed that life insurance to his sister, not to her. She really thought she was going to get that $1 million. And she was trying to make sure that he was done, taken care of before that happened. But she didn't know Charles was already on to her. He may not have been aware to the extent she was going to go, but he knew enough to get her off that life insurance policy. Because even if, say, he just passed away from natural causes, he couldn't be guaranteed Lori at that point was going to take that money and do right by his children. All of his children. He had 2 older children, and then together they had JJ, and of course he had been raising Tylee. And Colby even states, Charles was so good to him and to Tylee, that he was very good to them. He was nice to them. Lori wants to make it out that, Tylee had all these issues with Charles. I think she created a lot of those issues on her own, because I don't think Tylee actually had any issues with him until her mother began to tell her things. And of course, the child's trusting her mother. It is so, the saddest part about the whole thing is not, you're lying to your family and all these, but there are innocent people dead and gone. Tammy, JJ, Tylee, Charles, they're just, they all died for no reason except for Chad and Lori wanting to run away and share the gospel, I guess. They still have, okay, let's pull up this court TV feed. I think they're actually showing something now, but it hasn't started yet. So I've been keeping an eye on it. They're still waiting for it to start. As soon as it does start, I will bring that up. What did y'all see? Would y'all saw something on Twitter? Because I've been on Twitter. You saw what on Twitter? Who said something about oh, I'm glad that I saw Shelly's twatter this morning. Oh, thank you. So she shared the stream. Well, thank you if that's what you're talking about. I appreciate that. I sometimes forget to go to Twitter and share the stream out. I usually do, but sometimes I try to remember. But Twitter's my playground. When I get bored, I'll go to Twitter and just start commenting on people, like, not like a troll, but like, here, I'm gonna say what I gotta say too. So I get bored, I go to Twitter. Sometimes that'll get me into trouble, but not with Twitter, but with people. The salty mouth. Okay. This is a piece that one of the neighbors reported on. Uh-oh. Okay, let me pull this screen up, and I still have the screen up for Court TV, and they're not live yet. So this is a news clip from, I believe it's News Nation, and it's one of Chad's neighbors talking about what he saw over on Chad's property.
First look at the booking photo of Chad Daybell. He is in the Fremont County Jail in Idaho, accused of destruction or concealment of evidence.
Today, investigators say they found human remains on his property. We do have live team coverage tonight in Idaho. Fox 13's Adam Herbetz is right outside the Fremont County Jail right now.
But we begin with Lauren Steinbrecher near Chad Daybell's home in Salem. Lauren.
Yeah, Bob and Kelly. So tonight you can kind of see this area behind me. This is where we saw investigators this evening out in the yard of Chad Daybell. They have been putting up some lights this evening to keep this area lit up. You can see that blue tent and how far that is into the ground and what appears to be a dig site that's so deep they brought in a backhoe just to dig down. A dig site sits empty in Chad Daybell's yard at the end of a long day for law enforcement, where they made a massive discovery.
During the search of the property, investigators discovered what appeared to be unidentified human remains, and an autopsy will be conducted.
Human remains. Not sure yet who those remains belong to, but this is related to the disappearance of JJ and Tylee, police say. It's why the Rexburg Police Department, Fremont County Sheriff's Office, and FBI Evidence Response Team showed up at 7 a.m. with a search warrant, zeroing in on this part of the yard. Around 4 hours later,
they got him arrested. They've legit got Chad Daybell arrested.
Two women driving on a road near Chad's home record police putting Chad in handcuffs.
It was just weird because he came past, and then all of a sudden there's all these cops just, and one of them was kind of going on.
I had to go get more coffee and come back. Is this the same piece we already watched, guys? Did I throw something up for y'all to watch again? Let me know. If so, we'll do it.
The outside, kind of trying to surround him. And so they got him to pull over and got him to get out of his car.
At first, police said they took Chad in for questioning. Not too long later,
Shortly after the remains were discovered, Chad Daybell was taken into custody and booked into the Fremont County Jail.
Chad is facing felony charges, the sheriff's office confirms, while there still aren't hard answers in what happened to JJ and Tylee. It appears it's a huge step closer in the case, potentially a step closer to closure for the kids' families who have waited months for answers. And as this area gets lit up by those...
They still haven't started, guys. I'm still checking. Yeah, Don't Dox Me says I'd bring a priest before I began searching because the devil was busy, right? There's not enough sage in the world to rid that ground of all the disgusting things that were happening around that home. And y'all know the home was destroyed now. Chad's lawyer ended up with that house as part of his payment for representing Chad. And then there was some talk about what was going to happen to the house and different things. And that attorney caught some flack over all that. So, yeah, it ended up being destroyed. Let me check. The court feed is still not up yet. Let me get my playlist back up here. Okay, let me look for this one thing I wanted to show. Let's see. Here we go. Okay. Sorry, it's a hearing.
Um,
Hope you guys can hear it okay.
I don't know if there's a representative of the media that can address this, but my question is, if there's a single pool camera, is there some sort of agreement or cooperation between other media outlets to use a single camera?
Your Honor, if I may, Matthew Kelly, I represent Court TV, and our understanding is that, yes, there is a pool arrangement, and Court TV has asked to be the pool for the trials in this matter. I believe that that request is pending with the PIO. Regardless, the media that are interested in camera coverage do have a pool arrangement.
Okay. Multiple cameras and a still camera. I'm inclined to just allow a single camera. Do you want to speak to that?
Yes, Your Honor. Court TV would prefer to have two of its own cameras. One of its own cameras is perfectly fine. Court TV's equipment is actually smaller than the camera we have here today and can be operated remotely, so it is much more unobtrusive. Court TV also has, in the past, used the feed from one of the cameras here for the webcasting of hearings for its purposes as well. Court TV will position its camera so that jurors are not in the field of view and would not use any of these cameras that have a view of the jurors.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else here from the media that wants to be heard? I don't hear any. State want to take a position? All right, I know the defendant filed an objection. I've read your objection. Do you have anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, Your Honor, I'd just like to add some case law to that. Shepard versus Maxwell, 337 U.S. The United States Supreme Court, Mr. Justice Clark, held that failure of the state judge in murder prosecution to protect defendant from inherently prejudicial publicity, which saturated the community to control disruptive influences in courtroom, deprived the defendant of a fair trial consistent with due process. So that and Arizona versus Cheney, which was the defendant is entitled to fair and impartial trial when publicity pervades court proceedings to the extent that the proceedings were prejudiced to the defendant. So obviously you read my objection, so I just wanted to add those on the record.
Okay.
Thank you.
Your prior attorneys had filed a series of objections to media coverage media being allowed in the courtroom, and I made a prior ruling that was filed back September 4th, which was fairly comprehensive. I am inclined to allow one pool camera. I'll issue an order with more detailed findings later today or tomorrow. But essentially, there won't be any media coverage during the jury selection process, and I'll put the reasons for that in the order. So that's, again, I'll issue a more detailed order later today or tomorrow. All right.
Your Honor, there's also the issue of whether Court TV would be allowed to live stream the trial, in other words, broadcast online in real time. Court TV would prefer to do that.
Are you able to, are they able to do a 1 or 2 minute delay?
Certainly, we can certainly do that. I just want to inform Your Honor, however, that when we share the footage with the pool, we can't delay that footage. So your order would need to require that all media receiving the feed delay it by however long you wish to delay it.
And the camera, the pool camera would be simultaneously distributing that feed to whatever media requests it?
That's correct. We have the capability to distribute to up to 30 or 40 different media outlets, so we have plenty of bandwidth to do so.
It's prejudicial and it's going to be
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. let's get down to business on some of the,
Your Honor,
yeah.
could I just add that we want to make sure that the cameras aren't going to be zooming in at any level to get to our notes and the things that are going to be on the table. I also previously, what has happened before is that they just have the camera on my face the entire trial. So I think when the judge is speaking, the judge needs to be on the camera. When the state is speaking, they need to be on camera. If we can add that to the order, I think.
All right, well, my draft already includes that there'll be no zooming in on counsel table, anything on counsel table, or anything being handled, notes or that sort of thing being handled by any of the parties or the attorneys. As far as what they focus on, they'll be limited to focusing on the parties, myself, the witness, depending on the witness. I need to ask the state about that in a second, but they won't be allowed to broadcast any image of any juror. While I'm on that subject, let me ask the state, are you seeking any sort of protective order when a named victim testifies?
Not at this time, Your Honor.
Will you let me know if that changes?
Yes, I will.
Do you have do you have the names of your designated victim or victim representatives that might be testifying?
Kay Woodcock is a statutory legal victim and will be testifying.
Is that the only one?
At this time, yes.
Okay.
For this trial, I should say.
For this trial, okay. Let me ask this, are the parties ready to proceed around March 31st or April 1st?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
All right, let me ask the state next. Earlier during these proceedings and past hearings, you indicated you thought the state's case in chief would take 2 weeks. You requested yesterday to screen for 6 weeks.
Your Honor, I did say 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
But I did say that while we had a defense attorney on and not Ms. Vallow herself. I am familiar with other pro per trials where generally the timelines are in excess of those with a defense attorney assigned. So in order to ensure that we aren't asking a jury later to stay longer than we pre-screen them, I believe it would be appropriate to screen them for 6 weeks.
So now that you're gearing up for trial and maybe you have a better idea, how long do you think your case in chief would take with a normal amount of cross? I know that's hard to estimate.
And again, I would say 2 to 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
That would be at the outset of it.
Okay.
Probably, yeah, 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay. Let me ask advisory council, if we do an e-questionnaire, would you be assisting Ms. Daybell with your laptop in going through the answers that are received?
Yes, Your Honor. I mean, assuming we do all of that, because a lot of times the courts send us back to our office to go through that. So if we do that here, then yes, of course, she's welcome to use our laptops.
All right. My plan is we can do jury selection in the South Court Tower 5C. I know that the state has requested that the entire trial be held there. We can't do it. We can do jury selection there. I can give you rooms here for your victims and witnesses as need be that are outside this courtroom that we'll have. We can have them stream in if you want, depending on, I guess, who the witness is or who's back there.
And obviously, Your Honor, I don't know if the public will be attending this or not. This also is a little different in that even in the mornings, the jury is going to be potentially out here while the court is having morning calendar. If there's media out there as well, I'm just trying to protect the integrity of the trial by ensuring that the public, the media, are not interacting with witness any time while they're out there. It's difficult and very limited rooms to put them in. Obviously, I need a room for the victims that's separate from any witnesses.
Well, we have on this floor 6 rooms, 5 or 6 rooms throughout. We have 3 right behind this courtroom, and we can utilize them as need be to ensure that there's no improper contact between media or the public in general and any victims or witnesses. We can also ensure that the jurors don't have contact. If that means we bring them up in a separate elevator and have them assemble somewhere else, we can accomplish that. So my plan will be to do an e-questionnaire, remote questionnaire for the first 200 jurors. That questionnaire, I need to get a final joint pretrial statement with the list of witnesses to include the names of witnesses in that, but I'd like to send out a draft to everyone by the end of this week. Let me bring up my calendar. We would probably send that out to the first 200 jurors around next Thursday, March 20th. Yeah. Oh, I guess they can't send it out. Okay, so we can send out that the 24th to the 27th, meaning it would be cut off on the 27th. The answers to those questionnaires would be emailed to the parties. That would give the parties the 28th, 29th, 30th, and 31st to go through those answers. We would meet on the morning of the 1st, discuss who needs to be let go based on those answers. Also on the morning of the 1st, a number of walk-in jurors that for whatever reason don't fill out the questionnaire in advance would come in to the jury room, the jury assembly room that morning and fill out the questionnaire. So that morning we'd also deal with those walk-in answers as best we can. Oh, that's right. I back up. The initial answers for the remote, we're going to meet on the 31st. Let those people go. Whoever we don't let go will be told to report on the afternoon of the 1st. On the afternoon of the 1st, we'll be dealing with the walk-ins that come in the morning of the 1st and the people that we haven't let go the afternoon of the 1st. That will be in person voir dire as needed. If we need to, which I anticipate we probably will, we'll do another 200 jurors on the 2nd. And if need be, we have another 100 jurors on the 3rd.
That next set of 200, that wouldn't be a remote question?
They don't have a capability to do it remote. So we may have to, what'll happen is on the 1st, all those people, after they give their answers, will be randomized. The list will be re-randomized. As we proceed through the 2nd, those people get added onto the bottom of the list. So as soon as we get 12 jurors that qualify, that everyone's happy with, that don't have issues, plus probably 3 or 4 alternates. So as soon as we get to about 15 or 16, we're pretty much done with jury selection. So we don't have to necessarily question all 200 of those people. We can do panels of 20 or something like that. I anticipate losing quite a large number of people just based on prior media coverage and people already having some sort of opinion about the case. I normally wouldn't include a defendant's name in the e-questionnaire that goes out remotely, but on this case I'm inclined to, just because that's what we want to know. We want to know if people have heard about the defendant and whether or not they've heard about, or if they've formed an opinion about her or this case prior to that. Does anyone have an issue with that, State?
No, Your Honor, I think that's a good idea. That's going to be at least one of the initial reasons to strike a lot of jurors.
you want?
My only issue with it, Your Honor, is that it could be bad both ways, right? If you put the name in there, if you don't put the name in there. It's been my experience that people will say they haven't heard when they know who that really is, and there's people that will want to be on this jury just for this purpose.
Well,
it's going to be complicated.
all the research indicates that these e-questionnaires, people are more likely to give honest, candid answers than if they're in a group of people and they feel sort of that peer pressure of what's a good answer and what's a bad answer. Your name's going to come up sooner or later, so I would prefer to just get it out in front of the potential jurors to begin with. My e-questionnaire is going to be fairly basic. It's going to focus on qualifications, the charges, the witnesses, and then obviously whether they have an opinion about you or this case. For the people that make it past that level, we'll question them more thoroughly in person.
And like you were saying, as far as group kind of voir dire, in my experience, we went through 1,900 jurors in my last trial, so it would be good to do individual voir dire if we can, than group voir dire, because they learn things just in the voir dire and it disqualifies a lot of jurors.
I'm not opposed to that, but that's going to be sort of a day of play it by ear sort of situation, whether we do small panels or just go a single person. If we go single person, our jury selection could extend into the next week. But if we're able to seat a jury, I would expect opening statements on April 7th, somewhere around there. Does the state indicated, I have it, there was just one day in April that you wanted to go a half day?
Correct, Your Honor. The 24th.
When can you file some sort of pretrial statement that sets forth all your potential witnesses and a statement of the facts?
Probably by Thursday.
All right. Does the state anticipate any presentation of autopsy photos or crime scene photos? In other words, I'm trying to gauge, I would usually put in a question about jurors may be required to view evidence that shows wounds or that sort of thing. Is there anyone that's unwilling to look at this type of evidence?
Yes, Your Honor. We will have both, obviously, with self-defense, trajectory, and those injuries are very relevant.
Okay, so I will include a question about that type of evidence. Sometimes jurors don't want to look at that type of evidence. So, all right. Any questions or concerns about our jury selection, the proposed trial dates from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Just so I have it clear, Your Honor, we're going to start on the 31st with jury selection. Is that correct?
We'll be meeting on the 31st,
Okay.
And then actual dealing with in-person jurors on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd.
Okay.
Let me ask advisory council, are there any dates that advisory council would need to be dark?
I am fine for April. I didn't hear back from Robert. I would think.
Please let us know, because in that e-questionnaire, I'm going to put in a proposed schedule. I don't know that I'm going to screen for a full anticipated presentation, maybe 5 weeks. So let us know the schedule into the first week or two of May.
As soon as I get an answer from him, I'll email your judicial assistant.
All right.
And one more time, Your Honor, so the remote question is going out on March 24th all answers have to be back by the 27th, so we will get them on the 27th, or,
You'll either get them late the 27th or first thing the 28th.
okay,
Oh, okay.
okay.
You should get them some point on the 27th.
Just so we can plan, because it sounds like we'll just go out to Estrella and go through these.
Yeah, they're closing it at like 8 a.m. on the 27th.
You'll have to have a internet connection.
Yeah,
out
we
there.
can use
Okay.
our laptops out there,
Okay.
because you want to be ready to discuss everything on March 31st.
Yeah, and if the parties have an obvious, you know, there's some jurors that are going to be obvious that need to be let go. If you're ready for that, that's always helpful. I know it's a little bit more difficult with pro per defendant in consulting like that. All right, let me get to.
So we'll come out on Friday and go through the questionnaire. We don't get any questions on that.
All right, the defendant had filed 2 separate motions for specific discovery. The first dealt with communication between the assigned deputy county attorney and law enforcement agencies. I've read the, and the second one was, well, let's deal with the first one. I've read the response from the state. Basically, your response is you have disclosed all those communications. There are no other communications.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. So let me ask the defendant.
Yeah, we received 6 email communications, and they were in a short time frame, not the full time frame. And it seems to me that in the last email ends in kind of a question that was probably answered, and then there's like no more communication. So it doesn't make sense that there's no more. We asked for all of them if they could be provided to us. We don't understand why they're not being provided to us, and what the state is possibly hiding at this point, and they can't just turn it over so that we can go through them. It's been, you know, long over a month since we filed that motion, so we would just like them to please turn over whatever they have left.
All right, and I'll ask the deputy county attorney. I imagine some communications are by phone, so in other words, we're not captured.
Correct, Your Honor.
All right. Based on the states of Vallow, I don't know, I can't tell them to turn over something they say they don't have, so I'll find that the state, based on their Vallow and officers of the court, have complied with the request. The second one is a little more, I wanted to get clarification on. That was defendant's requests for video interviews, but it seemed like based on the state's response that there was some confusion about what was a interview recorded in an interrogation room situation versus a body cam. Did the state's response provide clarification to you?
No. So the body cams were turned over, and they're in like 12-minute released by Gilbert Police to the public, and it's online. So I would like that video of the interrogation room, the full 2-hour one, to be turned over to the defense.
All right, so do you know what that is?
Your Honor, based upon the defendant's reply, she's requesting a video interview from the 31st. Those are on body cam and were turned over to the defense. We have requested everything from, I think that one was from actually the Gilbert Police Department. A lot of these overlap. So I am not sure what the defendant is.
Who was the person being interviewed, and you said the 2-hour interrogation that Gilbert released?
So it's myself and my daughter, Tylee Ryan, and Melanie Gibb.
And is that in an interrogation type room?
Yeah, it was at the Gilbert Police Station, and I didn't realize we were being filmed that whole time. I didn't know we were being filmed, but we were being filmed in that room.
And are you familiar with a video in a room?
Yes, that's what we have disclosed, is an interview of, it is
And you're saying you don't have it?
defendant, her daughter, and another.
And you're saying you haven't gotten that?
They have given 4 about 12-minute body cam videos of the policemen's body cams that were in the room with us, and they go in and out of the room at different times. So there's different body cams. They're all mixed up. It's not the full entire one, and the full entire, my understanding is that the full entire 2-hour interrogation room video from the ceiling is available online, but I don't have it in Discovery.
That's what I'm trying to clarify. So did the state disclose not a body cam, but an interrogation from up in the corner of a room vantage point?
I mean, we disclosed a lot. Let me see if I can find out. We did. Yes, my paralegal is present here as well, and she has advised that we did. Your Honor, we disclosed over. Can
your paralegal provide a Bates number or something so that maybe the defense just has overlooked it?
Let me see if we can find the actual,
maybe the discovery notice.
Discovery letter.
Okay.
Your Honor, all we do have is the 4 body cam. We can ask again and see if they have a overall.
Are you getting this? Have you seen this, or someone told you that there's this video?
My mitigator showed me part of that video. I wouldn't know about it. She said, "Do you know this is online?" I didn't have any idea.
And you're sure it's the Gilbert PD on that date?
Correct.
All right, I'll ask the state to follow up with Gilbert on that.
We will, Your Honor.
There, if that is out there, obviously it should have been disclosed.
Mm-hmm.
All right, remind me to follow up on that next time we are together. Next, I have a motion limine, 2 motions in limine, one regarding Alex Cox statements and one regarding Tylee Ryan's statements. All right, so let me ask the defendant, generally any hearsay is defined as any out of court statement offered for the truth of the matter asserted. The state is referencing what are definitely out of court statements. Obviously there's some exceptions to the hearsay rule, and there are other things that are characterized as non-hearsay. So how do you think, let's first talk about Alex Cox. How do you think the statements fit into your, either one of those exceptions or non-hearsay?
I feel like the state is blanketing that whole thing, and obviously it's like a case-by-case basis, right, on these statements. So there is the police interview of Alex Cox that I do not think falls under hearsay.
Why not?
Why does it not fall under hearsay?
Yeah.
Because we're not using it for the truth of the matter asserted. We're using it in corroboration of the circumstances. Everyone came in and told their same story that corroborates different facts in there, not for the whole truth of the matter.
Aren't you arguing that what he said was true?
I can't say whether another person says that it's true or not, but I'm saying what he said and what my daughter said and what I said in those 3 police interviews determined what the police said, how the police acted, what they did after that, their next steps, how they treated the entire case like it was self-defense. All of those are relevant to the defense that it was self-defense. So, yes, I think they're for that purpose. But I also think that Alex's statements also have a lot of the exceptions apply. 803, 804, there's a lot of exceptions that also apply to some of his statements and not all of his statements.
Such as what? Which statements do you think they apply to?
Specifically his statements made on body cam to police in the driveway, specifically his...
I don't know what the statements are, so that's what I'm asking. What specific statements do you think are allowed to come in under the rules of evidence?
I think under 8031, the present sense impression is his statements made to police officers at the house.
A present sense impression is where you're actually observing something and you're talking about it as you see it happen. So isn't he saying, again, I don't know what the statements are, but is he saying what happened prior? Or is he saying something
prior.
that he's, okay,
Correct,
so it's
prior.
not a present sense impression.
Okay.
What else?
Then I think it falls under 8032, excited utterance. He was under the stress of the whole situation when he made those statements.
What was his demeanor when he made those statements?
Upset.
What's the specific statement?
I shot my brother-in-law in self-defense. I got hit in the head with a bat. There was an altercation. I don't know what all the statements are, but...
How long after the incident did he make these statements?
Immediately after, as far as I know.
Well, immediately to some people means 2 seconds, to other people it means 30 minutes. Tell me what immediately means to you.
As soon as the police arrived.
I don't know did they arrive 30 minutes after the incident? 10 minutes, an hour?
I was not there. I do not know what time they arrived.
All right. So you're asserting excited utterance. Some of these statements come in. What else?
8033, the mental, emotional, and physical condition, because it shows his state of mind, which was scared at the time.
Any others?
Okay, guys, sorry about that. We're going to get back to the hearing because I just got a phone call. My phone was on silent. I looked down because I'm also on chat in my phone with you guys. Phone's ringing. It's Joe Schmo. So I'm like, so I answer the phone. Joe's going to, the hearing is over, right? So I guess the feed came out late. So it's not actually live, but this was this morning's hearing. Joe's about to set up to do a quick live from his phone over on his channel, and we're going to air it here as well. And I told him that if I had any questions, I would hit him up. I'll have his chat open on one side of my screen and my chat open over here. And when we're done with his update, we'll go back and finish watching the hearing. Is that okay with you guys? You want to do it that way? He's like, he was going to come on here live and just jump on stream with us, but he needed to go live on his. I'm like, dude, just go live from your channel. I'll ask questions from chat like everybody else. So we're going to do that. So Joe's getting set up and prepared. Interesting things I've heard so far while we're on a break for a moment, waiting on Joe to finish up there. those jury questionnaires, right? There were a lot of those. It was a big deal in Idaho 4 case. So they get mailed out in cases, when they're trying to field through all of their potential jurors. So these questionnaires will go out, and they're supposed to be like random, right? Not mention specifics and things of that nature. Over in Idaho, they were getting a little touchy-feely with the way they were wording things, and it was from the defense side. Now over here we're hearing jury questionnaires again. But do with Lori Vallow's case, though, unlike the other high-profile cases we're all looking at, there's a link to Joe's channel, guys. Lori's already been convicted of murder. So she's been in the media for years and years. And for her to even suspect or think that there's going to be people who, there's going to be a lot of people who did hear about her case. Not everybody follows true crime to the hilt, though, the way we do in true crime. Like, I legit tell this story because I used to work over in the Web3 space. And I have a friend who is an artist, and he lives in Boise. And he would tell me, because I started like dabbling in true crime online over in that area. Me and another girl were like, we want to talk about true crime. So we started doing these Idaho 4 things. Anyway, he told me that of the 3 of these individuals who lived in Boise, Idaho, did not follow the Idaho 4 case. They didn't know much about it. Moscow was hundreds of miles away. They just jurors in these immediate areas and all this stuff. And I was like, that's interesting to me that y'all don't really know much about the case. He's like, yes, but my wife, on the other hand, follows true crime. And she literally went from Boise to Rexburg to take a picture of Chad's house. And I've got that picture somewhere on one of my phones. But anyway, then as far as the Idaho 4 case goes, it was the same thing. They didn't know much about it, right? So there's people who like really watch the news and consume it, and there's people who don't know a lot. But don't you think it's hard for them to find anybody in that area that's not going to know about her? Well, because there's, outside of just all that pretrial coverage, I mean, there's going to be a lot with her because she's accused of killing a man and has already been accused of killing her children and convicted, right? What do you think is going to be in those questionnaires? And they don't want to put her name in there specifically. Did y'all get that? The defense doesn't want her name in there. They're not really. Simply Bell thinks that those are 2 different types of questionnaires. What would make them different? Let me ask you that. I'm not arguing with you. I'm like legit debating you on that. What do you follow up with that? So maybe I can get there with you. These are from the court, right? Well, see, the thing is, the courts usually do have a set of questionnaires they send out. The ones in Idaho, the defense wanted to have their experts send out their own batch. And they used a lot of words and descriptives that the courts questionnaires wouldn't use. And that was the difference there, if that's what you're talking about. But we're they're getting take away from what Ann and them had planned for their questionnaires, and it's going to be incorporated here now. You know what I mean? That's kind of like my thought process on that, I guess. Maybe I said Thompson blew a fuse over that questionnaire. A lot of people did. But I think Ada County's used to large profile cases, so there's probably a lot of coverage locally. You know what I mean? I would imagine, like on the nightly coverage of the news, or is it just like so normal there that they don't, you know what I mean, cover tons of it, pretrial stuff? I don't know. I don't live there, but I think it would be hard to. Let me see if Joe's messaged me. Hold on. Hang on, guys. I'll be right back. I'm Okay, guys, let me get over here and get Joe's channel pulled up so I can screen share it when he goes live in just a sec. That hearing was almost over, but we will get back to that. Let me get to Joe's channel here. We don't know how to dual stream from each other's stuff yet. I'm on Restream today, and he's over on StreamYard. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. So where are you at, Joe? I don't see it set up or anything. Hold on. Let me hit refresh up here because I'm not seeing him live yet, or not even a be live in 5 minute kind of thing. What are you doing, Joe? Excuse me. Did the Gonzalezes do their own juror questionnaires? Where did you hear that? And what do they do? Mail them out to just random people in Moscow? Like, just like, you know how the old school had a phone book? You could get people's addresses. I mean, how would, like, through their attorney maybe? Through Shannon? But I've never heard that. That's interesting. I don't know what that would do because they can't, I don't know how that would benefit them. Let me DM Joe, guys, because I don't see that he's live. Let me double check everything. Where you at, Joe? And Pokemon, we'll make sure we get that question in about Lori's hair and makeup today. Y'all know she was trying to look sexy for Joe, right? With the shoulder. We all noticed how she was showing some shoulder. I think that's because Joe Schmo was in the courtroom. We teased Joe about Lori because he thought she was cute. He's into hair apparently. I'm like outing Joe. I think he outed himself on a live, so I'm just gonna say it. But like apparently he's into hair, and he thought she has pretty hair, which she does. Lori has great hair. I mean, come on, can't deny that. Girl likes her blonde and black thing going on, but she's got cool hair. Yeah, change of venues are not uncommon though, are they? They're just not, and people made a huge deal about that in Idaho. That usually comes later in the case, in the process. That came early in the Idaho case. Careful what you wish for, Ann Taylor, because you just might get it, Mama always said. The change of venues are so common. Casey Anthony didn't get a change of venue. She didn't get a gag order. She didn't get she got tons of pretrial coverage. She didn't get to wear suits until trial. Somebody made a comment about that earlier with Lori wearing her little, suit, but I think it's Joe calling me. Like, it keeps showing me. I got my phone off. I look down and see it looks like somebody called me. Let me try to call him back because he's not responding to me anywhere. Hold on, guys. Okay, change of plans. I guess Joe's coming here. He's like, I was backstage. I'm like, well, dude, I'm waiting for you to go live. I didn't know. Sorry. I didn't even realize. Now I need a fresh coffee. Let me get him back here, guys, and then when he gets up here, we'll get him on. Sorry, Joe Schmo. Sorry. What do you got? He's not back here yet. So, do you love your hubby more than your children? Juror question. Right? Fucking right, Pokemon. Yeah. She was doing, I know she loved, if you don't know, Lori loved to dance. She had those mirrors in her condo where she would dance, and she had little videos of her dancing. She was a dancing queen. All right, all right, can everybody see Joe Schmo? There he is finally. Sorry, Joe, I didn't mean to ignore you backstage.
All right. Can you see who's live behind me?
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, we were all waiting to hear from you, boots on the ground there. We didn't see you in court. They didn't show any of that. We were all like, "Wave, Joe." Somebody in chat was like, "Wave." I was right behind Dustin Lum, and next to him was Nate Eden, and next to him was Lauren from Hidden Two Did Crown. you Uh, ask? Did you ask Nate for an exclusive? no, no. I'm, Oh, I wish you. I've got an echo. Oh, sorry. Are you on your earbuds? Sometimes will be the culprit. Oh, all right. Yeah. We can hear you. Can you hear us any better? Are we echoing? I can barely hear you. Oh no, I can yell. I can, but then I'll be y'all excuse me if I scream. Technical difficulties. Oh well, we can hear you just fine, so hopefully you can hear us. Chat will be asking questions in the chat if they have one. They're reporting no echo on their side. Now, before we get started, we need to get this out of the way. Pokemon wanted you to report on something specific. We needed a hair and makeup report from Lori for today.
Oh, says echo cancellation is on.
Uh-oh. We're not getting an echo, but you are?
Hold on, let me turn off my camera so I can converse. You don't need to see me. Hold on.
It's not your camera, it's that earbud. Fella.
There, now we can have a conversation.
Oh. I can hear you like way better just because you turned your picture off.
Okay.
No, seriously, can you hear us now? Are we echoey to you?
Just a little bit.
Okay, we hear you just fine. Either way, we hear you better like this. So however better is for you to hear, roll with that. How about that?
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So I don't know if you heard the first question. We have, if you want, chat's going to be asking questions if you can't hear them very well. But we have one question we wanted to get out of the way, and Pokemon also wanted to know this answer. But we need a hair and makeup report on Lori Vallow Daybell from this morning.
Her hair was really long and not as nice as usual.
Oh, it wasn't.
No.
She had a bad hair. Okay. Did she do okay with her jailhouse makeup today?
Looks the same as always.
Oh Lord, we got some painted on stuff.
Yeah.
No, they make their own makeup in jail. Like Lori's not getting, makeup bought at commissary. They make their makeup. You'd be surprised at what them girls make their makeup out of. It's crazy stuff. But so that's what Lori's doing. I laugh at her because they all do it before they go to court. They feel like they got to get dolled up, I reckon, and they have their little jailhouse beauty salon happening. So yeah, okay, we got that out of the way. So the court, we heard in the beginning about the talk about having cameras in the courtroom.
Yes, that was first step.
Yeah, and then they moved into some of the motions that she went through. So give us a recap on your take of what happened this morning. We're here to hear what you
Oh
have
gosh,
to say.
I have like 8 pages.
Oh gosh, as long as you want to go, we'll go. If you want to, how far is it for you to get home? Like, how long is it?
About an hour.
About an hour.
Yeah.
Because we can always come back, and do a good recap once you're home and you're good to go.
Yeah, I will probably do a thorough recap later. Some of the highlights.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, you have to. You can't just maybe. You have to, because I got questions. I was just giving you the opportunity to get home and get comfortable, Joe Smo.
But it's going to be a while. We got to go get lunch and some other things.
Okay, so yeah, give us a recap on today's events.
I'll just hit some of the highlights.
Okay.
The state says the speaker for the victims will be Kay Woodcock. Both parties said that they'll be ready on time. The state said it'll take 2 to 3 weeks to present their case. And here's the big one that you can't see from that camera. The jury selection will move to a larger courtroom, but we will be back in this one for the entire trial. There's only like 27, 28 seats.
And okay, I heard when I was at the court TV feed waiting for this to start, there was chatter in the comment section about that courtroom. So that makes sense now to hearing you say that. So it's apparently a very small courtroom, right?
Yeah, smaller than Delphi by far.
Oh, damn. Damn. So hopefully they will rule to have their fixed camera. But here's my beef with court TV. They tell you not to zoom in. You zoom in on her damn stupid ass shoes. Okay, look, they got in trouble in the Idaho 4 case. The judge made it clear we will have cameras, but we're not going to zoom in on the defendant and do this. What is the next hearing held after the judge says no zooming in? What does court TV do? And they knew what that ruling had been. They zoomed right in. We were all like watching it, going, "Oh my God, what are you doing? You're going to get us banned from the freaking courtroom. Don't do it again." You can show me her feet, but don't zoom in. Don't zoom in on the defense table because we don't need to see what's on the defense table. That was also a deal in Idaho. Zooming in on the defense table because their computers are open, their notes are out, their work product is laid out, and you're zooming in. Okay, I get all that, but the fixed camera always works.
So that then, let's see. Oh, the judge wants to ask, are you familiar with the defendant and have you formed an opinion? And Lori actually had a kind of lucid argument that it's a two-edged sword, because if they have, then they may try to get on the jury just for how famous it is.
Yeah. Well, we were just discussing that, right? Waiting on you to get set up about the jury pool in itself in the questionnaires that are going out. But here's the thing with the Lori Vallow's high profile case, she's already been convicted of 2 murders. So there's not a lot of people who don't know something about her case. Just because a juror has heard something doesn't mean they can't go in there and make a open-minded decision about something else, right? And that's when you get deeper into the process. Like the judge said, you're not going to sit there and question 200 jurors at the gate. You're going to do preliminary questioning, and then you're going to weed them down and weed them down and weed them down. Once you get them down to so many, you're going to start asking the hard questions that matter. And that's how they end up with their jury pool. So I still have faith in American jurors. I do, even though I don't agree with the ones in Delphi because they didn't have all the facts, but that's not their fault. They went with what they had, and what they had was weak probable cause, and they convicted. Casey Anthony was not convicted, and they had probable cause. We have to see it from both sides. But so I hope they do keep the camera. I think this judge was leaning toward keeping a camera. Did you get that feeling, Joe?
Oh yeah,
from him that
there'll be a camera in there. There'll be a pool camera. Court TV will probably run it and distribute the feed, but the judge wants a delay, so everybody who receives that feed and rebroadcasts it will have to have their own delay added on.
Yeah.
Um,
Because remember, because in Idaho she didn't want the darn cameras, and she succeeded, and we just got audio at the end of the day.
Right.
So if we can, if we can keep court TV in check, with a still camera, single camera, whatever, then we'll be okay. We should be able to.
Yeah.
So go ahead with your updates.
Let's talk about the
I told
evidence.
you, I have too many questions. I got too many questions. I'll keep you here all day. You'll be starving for
Yes.
lunch.
Yeah. Let me bounce through some bullet points.
Okay, you go right ahead. I'll mute out now.
No, you don't have to mute, but we can't.
I'm joking. You know me. I got to right now.
So Lori claims she's missing some emails, and the state is hiding something. The state says they don't have anything that she claims they do. But Lori said that she was never given in disclosure the police department, the Chandler PD interview room interviews with Lori, Tiley, and Melanie Gibb. And that they only gave her the 4 body worn cams of the officers that went in and out of those rooms. And the judge kind of drilled down to it and asked the state And the state said, we don't know what she's talking about, but we believe we gave it to her. And the judge says, will the paralegal for the state confirm that? And the paralegal for the state said, we can't find record of having given it to her. And the judge said, well, don't you think that would have been important to get that to her? So that was a pretty big bombshell moment. The state admitting that they didn't give her that interview. The video recordings of those 3 interviews.
Yeah, and so I was doing a quick search. So I'm thinking, when did I ever see that? I've seen all of the stuff. Did I miss something? Where is that? So I was searching it while that was happening in the hearing, and I found something from that police department, and it is Tylee, and we're going to review that in a few minutes, but it's Tylee and her mom. But I don't know if it's the same one Lori was talking about, right?
Right.
I haven't had a chance to deep dive it further. I was going to reach out to a few people and see if they knew exactly which one she's talking about. You know the same people, so
Right.
we got some digging to do on that. But yeah, go ahead.
Then they get into the Alex Cox and her hearsay, her motion on that being hearsay, and they boiled through the rules. I didn't write all of the individual rules, but he did rule on a couple of them, and I think he's going to rule on another one later. The excited utterance. And what does exactly immediately after mean? Is it 2 minutes? Is it 30 minutes? Okay, then
Guys, can you hear me? Let me see. I don't think I can hear Joe at the moment. I don't know if it's me or if it's Joe. If he's walking around, we may have lost him for a moment. Let me see. I think he's back. Are you there, Joe Schmo? Hello, is there anybody out there? Just nod if you can hear me. But look, we couldn't see him nod if he did, because look, we can't see him. Sorry, Joe. Alright. We'll see if Joe comes back to us. Let me remove these. I'll come back here, screen. Okay. If he's able to jump back in, he will jump back in. You can hear me? Okay, good. So it's not me, it's Joe. We lost him. We lost Joe. I hope Lori didn't get a hold of him. Damn it. She tried to escape after her hearing and caught Joe and hold him hostage until we all recognize her Jesus. Lord help us. Lord help us all. Okay, okay, let me bring that back up and watch the very ending of that. Uh-oh. Okay, for a second there I lost you guys. No. It should be right where we left off at, so let me pull it back up. It better be right where we left off. Oh, wouldn't you know it? I know about where we were at. Okay. Okay, I think we have Joe back as well. Let me pull him up here. Are you back, sir?
I'm back. Where did I lose you?
Okay.
Or where did you lose me?
Right at I'm trying to think of which bullet point you were at this point. I just pulled the trial back up. I don't think, were you about to go over where she was at the witness verification of their testimony, like the witness list, or
Yeah.
did you got? far? You had
Not the witness list yet. Her expert witness, Lonnie Dworkin.
we catch up with chat here. Okay. All right. Any of you guys remember the exact last bullet point that he brought up?
That's okay. We'll go back and hit him later.
Okay. So
I'll
go
start
ahead.
where I am now with that she hasn't disclosed to the state yet.
Uh-oh. Lost him again. Lost him again. He needs to stop walking around. I need to ask him, are you walking around? Stay still. Be real still. Hope the portal didn't open up, right? Oh, heck. We might have to open a circle of safety for Joe Schmo. Jesus. Didn't even think about that one. Where's my sage? Maybe I should light some for him. I know I got some left somewhere. It might be time for a trip to town to gather my supplies. Oh, goodness. I know one thing I am out of that I have a hard time living without. I don't know if you guys, any of you that do burn sage, there's a sage cone incense at this metaphysical shop in town, like the only one in town. But man, I love those things. Hold on, Joe's calling. Let me catch this. Okay. Joe was walking around as I suspected, so he's going to go ahead and go grab lunch and head home. And then he's going to regroup and he's going to hit me up and let me know. So I'm going to make him, he's got no choice. You can rest later. Joe, I'm teasing. But he's planning to go live later and do a recap of what all went down today. But let's pull this back up. I think this is about where we left off. You guys let me know if we did hear this part. This should be about the witness list, I think. Um, Forget the Y2K trend. Lori is full of 80s influence, right? Yeah. Uh-oh. Somebody has some beef over there with some Gray Hughes content. That dude. I will say this. His coverage of stuff isn't bad, but dude needs to get a grip. You ask a single question in chat and, somebody block her. And they're like, no, that was funny. That should have been there for that. Okay, let me share this. Oh, let me hit play. Let me get this thing down out of my way. Okay. He blocked you and everything, wasted 45 minutes looking down. Yeah. He tried to get me blocked, but they wouldn't block me. I just asked a simple damn question. Here we go.
Next, I have a motion limine.
Uh-oh.
Two motions in limine, one regarding Alex Cox statements and one regarding.
Now remember, Alex Cox is no longer alive, but this is a motion in limine. One of them is regarding his statements. I mean, the guy admitted that he killed Charles, but he said it was
statements.
I'm gonna run grab a fresh coffee real quick because I want to hear this.
All right, so let me ask the defendant. Generally, any hearsay is defined as any out of court statement offered for the truth of the matter asserted. The state is referencing what are definitely out of court statements. Obviously, there's some exceptions to the hearsay rule, and there are other things that are characterized as non-hearsay. So how do you think, let's first talk about Alex Cox. How do you think the statements fit into your either one of those exceptions or non-hearsay?
I feel like the state is blanketing that whole thing, and obviously it's like a case-by-case basis, right, on these statements. So there is the police interview of Alex Cox. that I do not think falls under hearsay.
Why not?
Why does it not fall under hearsay?
Yeah.
Because we're not using it for the truth of the matter asserted. We're using it in corroboration of the circumstances. Everyone came in and told their same story that corroborates different facts in there, not for the whole truth of the matter.
Aren't you arguing that what he said was true?
I can't say whether another person says that it's true or not, but I'm saying what he said and what my daughter said and what I said in those 3 police interviews determined what the police said, how the police acted, what they did after that, their next steps, how they treated the entire case like it was self-defense. All of those are relevant to the defense that it was self-defense. So, yes, I think they're for that purpose. But I also think that Alex's statements also have a lot of the exceptions apply. 803, 804, there's a lot of exceptions that also apply to some of his statements and not all of his statements.
Such as what? Which statements do you think they apply to?
Specifically, his statements made on body cam to police in the driveway, specifically his...
I don't know what the statements are, so that's what I'm asking. What specific statements do you think are allowed to come in under the rules of evidence?
I think under 8031, the present sense impression is his statements made to police officers at the house.
A present sense impression is where you're actually observing something and you're talking about it.
Sorry, I'm just getting caught up on chat. But grab that copy and Tinsel says she's representing herself. She was found competent and all that good stuff. They had all that done, and so yes, she was allowed to represent herself in this case. And the lady there beside her is kind of like a co-counsel, kind of like helps her out, but basically Lori is running the show and she's filing documents, and all these motions that we're hearing today are all Lori's motions that she's filed. So yeah, crazy stuff. You can't make this shit up, as they say.
As you see it happen. So isn't he saying, again, I don't know what the statements are, but is he saying what happened prior, or is he saying something
prior.
that he's okay?
Correct,
so it's
prior.
not a present sense impression.
Okay.
What else?
Then I think it falls under 8032, excited utterance. He was under the stress of the whole situation when he made those statements.
I about spit my coffee out, y'all. She said utterance, excitement, whatever it's called. We just heard Ann Taylor talk about that, or was it the state talk about that in the Idaho 4 case? That was a statement made under that, what they consider that utterance, excitement, whatever the hell that, whatever the phrase was. Sorry, gummy and coffee. That's what'll get you. But here we're hearing that term again. So the more court cases people follow, the more terms they hear, and they learn that these terms are one meant. What does this word mean? What does that word mean? Well, we're hearing these words over and over in the state, thank you, the states. So anything made under that utterance, excitement, excited utterance, is that what it's called? Excited utterance? Did I say it right finally? If it's made under that, it's allowable. So I don't know where Lori's going with that. Interesting that they use the same terms.
What was his demeanor when he made those statements?
Upset.
What's the specific statement?
I shot my brother-in-law in self-defense. I got hit in the head with the bat. There was an altercation. I don't know what all the statements are, but...
How long after the incident did he make these statements?
Immediately after, as far as I know.
Well, immediately to some people means 2 seconds. To other people, it means 30 minutes. Tell me what immediately means to you.
As soon as the police arrived.
I don't know did they arrive 30 minutes after the incident? 10 minutes, an hour?
I was not there. I do not know what time they arrived.
All right. So you're asserting excited utterance. Some of these statements come in. What else?
8033, the mental, emotional, and physical condition, because it shows his state of mind, which was scared at the time.
Any others?
Yes. 8035B, the recorded recollection. I know that in the state's reply to my response, they did not think that 805 applied because A, B, and C, but I did not see an and after A, so my assumption was that B and C, since there's an and after B, were what needed to be put together. So B was made or adopted by this witness when the matter was fresh in the witness's memory and accurately reflects the witness's knowledge. So I felt like 803B5B, the recorded recollection of his police interview and the body cam footage, applies under that exception.
All right. Generally, 8035 is a recorded recollection, meaning it's something they wrote down, or maybe they recorded their voice saying something. Let me ask the state to respond. We're just talking about the Alex Cox statements.
Your Honor,
Maybe I should start with, does the state intend on introducing any statements from Alex Cox?
Your Honor, I haven't decided if we will at this point. I can say with 100% certainty we will not be admitting his interview by police that was done at after 10 o'clock in the morning. We don't.
Are you referencing what time he was interviewed versus the time of the incident?
Let me say it this way. So the state has laid out in its motion the timeline. So that is actually in our motion. We show that.
Somebody has that question.
When
8:30 a.m.
is
roughly.
when the 911 call was made. So we have soon after that the police arrived and there's body cam video from that interview. Then Alex Cox is later brought to the police station and there is a in-depth interview with detectives at a little after 10 o'clock in the morning.
So you may or may not be attempting to introduce statements at or around the time that the police responded?
Correct, Your Honor. If we do, those would be brought in as co-conspirator statements against a party interest. So obviously the state can bring in statements that are hearsay against a party.
Right. But I guess, is the state intending on introducing any statements of Tylee?
No, Your Honor. Tylee made no statements at the scene other than giving her general biographical information on body cam. Her entire statements were made at the police station, again, after 10 in the morning.
All right. So on your response as it relates to Tylee, you say, again, present sense impression. I don't think it's a present sense impression. You also argue excited utterance. What else?
8033, which is mental, emotional, and physical condition, with the same thing, her state of mind, then being scared. And also 8043, statement against interest. They use that statement in the indictment where Tylee says that Charles says, if you hit me with that bat, you're going to jail. That's the part where she's nervous in her interview, saying she's scared to tell the police that she's the one that brought in the bat. So state of mind and the statement against interest both apply to Tylee's police interview.
All right, anything else? Does the state want to be heard further on that?
Your Honor, the only further thing I think that the state will bring in is that obviously the defendant has been found guilty of killing both Tylee. other individuals, but in this case, the defendant cannot benefit from killing a witness and then later try to bring in their statements for their benefit. So in addition to none of her statements being admissible under the rules of evidence, as any of the exceptions that the defendant has done, we also believe that it would be improper for her to be allowed to bring them in under that theory.
In other words, there's been a judicial finding that the reason Tylee's unavailable as a witness is because of the defendant's actions.
Correct, Your Honor. There has been a jury trial and she has been convicted of that.
All right. All right, the court is on a preliminary basis precluding references to Tylee Ryan's statements, any statement made by Tylee Ryan. If there's some reason where a door might be open to any of those statements coming in, the defendant's requested to make a request outside the presence of the jury regarding that, and we'll deal with that outside the presence of the jury. On Alex Cox, I think that's probably going to be more of a statement by statement basis, but I'm skeptical of any statements coming in hours after the initial police response. I think we'll deal with what statements may or may not come in.
Yeah, the problem with that, y'all know what that is, right? Since, you know, because it was 10, by this time, 10 a.m. or whatever, time to think. He's had time to think about something to say within that 2-hour gap. So it's not like it was taken, the statement was made at 8:05, 8:15, you know, right then, there, soon after. But then you look at the other Idaho case we've been following where there's 8 hours. But in between the 911 call and interviewing those roommates, it was a very short time period. Here you have a 2-hour gap. The person's had more time to think about what to say beforehand. So I totally understand that argument.
When the police first arrived on scene and or the 911 at the time that they're attempted to be introduced. All right, I also received yesterday state's notice of disclosure and request for disclosure. Did you get a copy of that?
No.
You haven't seen that yet?
No.
I'm sorry, the
State's notice of disclosure and request for disclosure. I didn't realize it was actually filed in January, so you should have seen that. I misspoke when I said I got it yesterday. It was filed January 16th. Have you seen that?
I'm looking into that. What are we? Dates disclosure?
I think that the court may have ruled on that one, Your Honor.
Well, I don't think I ruled on, at the very end, you're requesting she submit to fingerprints, palm print, footprint.
Oh, that's, okay. I think that was fired, yes, significantly. So that would be to tie her to any of her.
Is that for other conviction purposes?
Correct, yes.
All right. And when did you want to do that?
What is that about?
If we are going to be here on the 18th, we can take them then.
I don't know that we need to be here on the 18th.
And obviously, I was unaware we were going to set this because we set it just recently. So I don't know if we can keep that on just to take that.
Okay, what about the state, you requested copies of any recorded statements made during interviews conducted outside of your presence. Is there any of those, were there any interviews conducted by you or your team? Were there any interviews conducted of any witnesses out by you or your team that you're aware of?
So far, not that I'm aware of.
All right. Do you plan on calling any experts to testify?
We do plan on calling one expert.
Who's that? Has it been disclosed to the state?
We are, yes, we're working on that today as an addendum to the
Who's that?
witness list that, Lonnie Dworkin.
All right. That's your investigator?
No, my investigator, Jeff White.
Oh.
That's the expert.
What kind of expert is Lonnie Dworkin?
Phone and digital.
I think I remember his name. Are you aware of that?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Expert reports and disclosures are due 30 days before trial generally under the rules. So if you're planning on using that witness, you need to get that disclosed right away, and I may have to take that up depending on what the state's position is. But
Your
at this
Honor,
point,
that
it's technically late.
may be another reason to be here on the 18th. Obviously, if that's disclosed this week, we can potentially address that issue on the 18th.
All right. Let me ask the defendant, do you have a position on the taking of prints and photographs permitted over any defendant objections? So do you have a record you want to make on that?
Not really.
All right, I don't see any reason
For what
why.
purpose? I don't understand.
In the event that you're convicted, it may be used to prove other convictions. That reminds me, is the state planning on proceeding in the second trial regardless of what happens in the first trial?
I believe so, yes, Your Honor.
And how much time would you need between the conclusion of the first trial and the start of the second trial?
Your Honor, I would say at least 30 days, since we do need to actually subpoena out-of-state witnesses for the second trial.
I'm wondering if it wouldn't benefit everyone to go ahead and set that a provisional second trial date now.
That's fine, Your Honor.
May 11th is still my last day.
Is that second trial,
Right.
how long do you think it would take the state to
Probably
present?
about 3 weeks as well.
Similar?
Not gonna-
Remember, this trial is for Charles, the conspiracy on murder for Charles Vallow. The other trial they're talking about is the conspiracy charge, conspiracy to commit murder on Brandon, her niece's ex-husband.
Your Honor, I'd like to remind the court that the last day is May 11th.
Well, I'll probably exclude some time based on the fact that you can't do two trials at once.
The state could combine the trials and do two trials at once, but they don't want to do two trials at once, so it really violates my speedy trial rights if they do not give me a speedy trial by May 11th for both cases. Not to mention that they did combine all the discovery into one case. They didn't give me two different separate discoveries for two different cases, which would be much more convenient considering the voluminous amount of discovery that they piled onto us.
The state want.
Oh, damn. I hate to say I agree, but I agree. Two separate cases, two separate trials, two separate sets of discovery. If I got to apply one rule to one case, I got to apply it to all cases. That's interesting if true.
Want to do combine both cases?
Your Honor, if the court gave us a little time to work it out and the defendant wants to join them, I mean, obviously,
I don't know that.
with a normal defense attorney, and I don't mean that in any way, normally they would be
severed?
Severed because you
Due
don't
to-
want one jury to know about the other
Correct.
two separate charges and have a harmful rub-off effect of the evidence in one case affecting the evidence in another case.
Correct, Your Honor. That's why they were filed separately. But if the defendant wants them together, the state would have to request this be pushed back slightly so that we could then get all the witnesses for that trial together, since they were not subpoenaed for this trial. But if that's what the defendant wants to join them, and she understands that prejudice and that she's then going to be waiving that prejudice with that, then the state is certainly willing to do that. But we would then have to request to have that trial, or this trial date, moved back to allow us to get the other witnesses lined up. That was not, give me my second trial by May 11th. So the court can figure that out.
All right, well,
See, that lady, I'm sure, just reminded Lori that if you do combine these, it's going to prejudice one against the other, right? I mean, that kind of makes it look, I mean, it's bad enough on the defense side. If you're coming at it from a defense attorney, it's bad enough. But if you go combining them, then you're going to you can show the bigger picture all at one time as to why both these gentlemen were targeted. Why one was unalived and one was attempted. You know, I feel like it'd be easier for the prosecution to do that. But is it going to affect later, like appeal? No, and not if she clearly understands that having these trials together could be prejudice to the jurors. And if she states that she understands that, and that's court record, is documented, we can move forward. Damn, she took a risk wanting that, or even the prosecution suggesting that. But still, discovery should be separate if you're doing with separate trials. That's all I need. That's all I'm saying.
I'm going to waive some time on that second trial over the defendant's objection. Primarily, again, the defendant can't try both cases at the same time. Secondly, I'm not sure how much actual prejudice there is with a time violation, in the sense that you wouldn't be released from custody anyway. And thirdly, the rule for time violations under Rule 8, I think it's 8.6, is that any violation should be a dismissal without prejudice unless there's an actual prejudice shown, in which case the state could just refile the charge. Regardless, I think some time is warranted to be excluded because primarily you can't try two cases at once. What if we set a start date for May 12th? I realize that's could potentially be a quick turnaround, but again, I don't think this case is going to take 6 weeks.
Your Honor,
We can adjust that as necessary.
I, again, am going to ask for a longer time. I believe this will go through the beginning of May, and to have the state try to get those witnesses lined up and subpoenaed while in trial, I don't believe is.
Well, if I push it out any further, the parties need to be aware that I won't be trying the case. I don't think I would be anyway. I'm rotating at the end of June. And given some of the trainings I have to attend in June, I don't think we could get it done.
Well, both parties could send out subpoenas now for that second date for May 12th, correct?
Well, that's assuming we're done by about May 1st, probably, in this case, the first case.
And then, Your Honor, I did indicate that the state needs to be dark in May, the 21st, 22nd, and 23rd. You said 21, 22, 23? Correct. Of May?
And I would need to be dark the 19th, 20th, and 21st as well, so.
So given that we would be dark that entire week anyways, it really doesn't make a whole lot of sense to.
All right, sorry to interrupt. Let me speak with the criminal presiding judge about scheduling the second trial. We can discuss it on the 18th. Let's keep the 18th, but let's move it to later in the morning. Actually, let's move it up. All we're going to do is discuss a couple matters, and then there's no reason for the fingerprinting and stuff to be broadcast or on video, so I'll prohibit that from being recorded or otherwise broadcast. So have your person here. Let's do that at 8:15 a.m. on March 18th. And then we'll also discuss whether the defense is disclosing Lonnie Dworkin as a witness and whether or not he has a expert report prepared and disclosed at that time. I will have the questionnaire for you by then, so you can review it. Anything else we need to discuss that I've forgotten about from the state's perspective?
Your Honor, I showed two other motions that the defense filed that I did not see rulings on by the court. They were both motions to dismiss. One of them only related to the 2022 case, I think. No, I'm sorry. Both of them related to both.
What's the filing date?
January 14th for one of them. Was an 8.2 speedy trial one. And February 4th, which was an extradition rule 8.3.
February 4th. Okay, so the motion to dismiss CR 2022-001242 for lack of speedy trial, I ruled on January 24th.
Okay.
That minute entry was filed January 24th, and then the motion. Was that the motion to dismiss CR 2021 and 001704 and the other for violation of Speedy Trial Act?
Correct. That
was ruled on February 25th, so last week.
Okay.
A week ago. Anything else from the state?
No, Your Honor.
Anything else from the defendant?
Yes, Your Honor. I have one kind of housekeeping matter that I wanted to ask you about. I know that MCSO has some security restraints, the things that I have to wear during trial, and
I meant to.
I wanted to ask about that as far as, am I going to be able to stand at the podium to talk to witnesses, to question my witnesses and to cross-examine, or am I going to be able to move about with the leg thing and the shock vest and all that?
You're going to stick to your table and you can go to the podium. Okay. When you're giving your opening statement and closing argument, you'll stay by the podium.
Okay.
And if you need to hand a witness an exhibit, your advisory council will do that.
Okay. Or my paralegal can do that too.
Well, is your paralegal going to be present here, designated as your? I guess they can be present. I'd prefer advisory council to be the one that approaches witnesses if you need to hand an exhibit or something like that.
Okay, so I'm going to be standing there, and if she's sitting here, she's going to come get something from me and go walk it over to the witness and then come back?
Correct.
Just the logistics of it?
Yeah, and there'll be There'll be a table or a cart here that'll have all the exhibits on it within reach of the podium. So,
Okay.
anything else?
Your Honor, do you use case lines for exhibits?
No.
Thank you.
I think they're still working out the bugs on that. So,
Do we need to have our exhibits in place?
all right, we'll see you at 8:15 on March 18. Be at recess on this matter.
It's usually like
So I guess there will be back for on the 15th. So crazy, crazy. Crazy Lori. So that was the end of that. What did you guys think? You guys still with me, hanging in there? So Joe was like we saw earlier, he was trying to give us an update there, but we kept losing him. So he was going to go catch lunch and head home, and do his thing once he got home. So we'll see if he's going to get set up to go live later. And I was going to show a couple of things, but I can look at them in the morning when I go live. But I'm going to go for the day as well and get some things done. But I appreciate you guys coming in, tuning in, and hanging out and listening to the hearing with us, and talking about all the things and reviewing the materials that we did before the hearing started. So like I said, we do have more. We have that body cams. The things that Lori did speak of, I've got like a list, and so I'm trying to pull up the specific things that she talked about in this hearing today. So we can take a look at those, and get a refresher and remind ourselves. Like, a lot has happened with this case. It's been a long time, all the things. So just gathering this stuff that she was specifically talking on, and that way we can review them together. So I'm going to get that ready as well. But anyway, yeah, there's the link again to Joe's channel. Y'all go over there and give it a sub up, turn on your notifications, so when he goes live you won't miss it. If he goes, usually we get enough time, I'll post the link over in the community of the channel as well. Again, thank you for gifting memberships, and welcome to all of you new members. Like I said, we're working on more content for that, and I'm trying to get way better at doing that. So check out the members tab over on the channel for posts and things like that coming out for you guys. So again, thanks for being here, and we'll keep an eye on the calendar as well, make sure that next hearing is going to go forth. And I hope that the judge, I feel like this judge will rule to keep a camera in the courtroom, but under his control, so hopefully that will happen. All right, well, everybody, thanks a lot for coming in. Like I said, go over there and check out Joe's channel, and don't forget to sub up, and so we can take a look and get an update and talk about the hearing and what we think about it. Because regardless, she's still playing a defense attorney. These motions, are they going to get, denied or not? Probably, but she's got some points with some things. So, but that doesn't mean that she's going to win her arguments. Do you know what I mean? So we'll have the discussion and see what Joe's thoughts are on all of that and his take on everything since he was there. So I'm excited to hear what he's got to say. So again, thank you for coming in. Yeah, Forrest, thanks for everyone being here. You're always appreciated, and that is 1,000% true, because we wouldn't be here without you. So thanks to all the listeners who don't ever chime in and chat. We get it, but appreciate you listening. Anyway, again, I'll see you guys at some point later on this evening. So with that said, you guys have a good evening. Good night.
Thank you all for watching this here video. Please like and subscribe and follow. Much love from Little Yas to